Phoenix Nights. Chapter 2153. Endless black fog rolled and swept across the land. Within the black fog was a man in a black robe. No one knew who he was. His aura was so terrifying that it was suffocating. Run! 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 When they saw the terrifying man in the black robe, Wu Qianquan and Fairy Miao Qing, who were about to attack Lin Feng, changed their expressions. They seemed to know the man in the black robe and turned to flee. Oh no, it's him, the great demonic god! The leader of the 36 Hell emissaries also changed his expression. Without thinking, he turned and fled. What's going on? Lin Feng was stunned. He did not know why these people were avoiding the man in the black robe as if he was a ghost. Lin Feng did not dare to stay and ran away. Kid, don't go. Don't go. Let me eat you. The man in the black robe swept up the endless devil fog and chased after Lin Feng. A blood-curdling sound came from his throat. That sound. It was like the roar of a ghost. It made Lin Feng feel a chill down his spine. Why don't you go and eat Su Miaoqing? She's a delicate beauty and her skin is so tender. I'm a man and my flesh is so hard. Lin Feng shouted. He. The man in the black robe laughed weirdly again and said, How can Su Miaoqing's flesh be compared to yours? I want to eat your flesh and drink your blood. Your bloodline is so powerful that it makes my heart burn. The man in the black robe shouted. Damn, can you not be so disgusting? Lin Feng could not help but roll his eyes. Kid, go to hell. The man in the black robe waved his hand. Suddenly, the devil chi condensed into a ferocious demonic god and pounced on Lin Feng. The demonic god's speed was too fast. Like a black lightning bolt, he arrived in front of Lin Feng in a flash. Lin Feng looked indifferent as he threw a punch at him. Bang! The Dracophant arm collided with the demonic god. Lin Feng felt as if his body was hit by an ancient mountain. His body was sent flying by the impact. His blood and chi churned. He almost spat out a mouthful of blood. Damn, that's too perverted. Lin Feng's expression was gloomy. He turned around and continued running. You can't escape. What you're doing is useless. You can't escape your fate of becoming my food. The man in the black robe. Who are you? Asked Lin Feng gloomily. You don't even know who I am? The man in the black robe. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes and say, If I knew who you were, would I still ask you? I am the great demonic god. Alas, the demonic god was disappointed. Lin Feng's expression didn't change at all. He even muttered, Who is the demonic god? Is he famous? The demonic god's mouth twitched. You don't even know who the demonic god is? Which mountain did you crawl out from? The demonic god looked at Lin Feng with disdain as he spoke. Lin Feng continued running. Who the hell knows who you are? Lin Feng glanced at the demonic god and pursed his lips. The great demon god actually had the urge to cry. So you know about the demonic god race? The demonic god decided to transform into his true form to shock Lin Feng. I'll transform into... The demonic god growled. He transformed into his three-headed, six-armed form. He then looked at Lin Feng smugly. At that moment, he realized that Lin Feng had already turned around and sped up, leaving the demonic god 7 or 8 kilometers behind. The demonic god had even torn his clothes in order to transform. This brat didn't even look at him. The demonic god was about to go crazy. He roared furiously. Brat, don't run! I'll tear you apart! Chapter 2154. Do you think I won't run just because you don't want me to? Why should I listen to you? Lin Feng pursed his lips. He had raised the 8 corners world to its limit. The great demonic god's cultivation was indeed formidable, but in terms of speed, the great demonic god was no match for Lin Feng. The fact that he was able to follow Lin Feng was already pretty good. Lin Feng's speed had always been fast, and during this period of time, his cultivation had improved by leaps and bounds. His speed had also increased tremendously. Currently, Lin Feng's speed was many times faster than before. As such, the great demonic god was unable to catch up to Lin Feng. In the end, Lin Feng managed to shake off the great demonic god. The great demonic god roared in anger. Many people turned and fled in fright when they saw the crazed great demonic god. Lin Feng was not afraid of the great demonic god. However, that did not mean that others were not afraid of the great demonic god. After shaking off the great demonic god, Lin Feng found a place to rest. Beside him was a pool and a small stream. The water in the stream gurgled. Lin Feng lay down on a smooth rock to rest. Not long after, someone flew over and landed beside the stream. Then, she found a place to rest. Upon seeing this person, Lin Feng sat up and smiled. "Isn't this Fairy Miao Qing? What a coincidence to see you here!" Lin Feng stood up and walked toward Fairy Miao Qing step by step. The grudge between the two was very deep, to the point where they were like fire and water. Lin Feng did not need to be courteous to Fairy Miao Qing. This woman was very sinister. If he did not get rid of her, she would become a huge disaster sooner or later. "What a coincidence! Looks like your luck is pretty good. You actually managed to escape from the great demonic god's pursuit." Upon seeing Lin Feng, Fairy Miao Qing frowned slightly. Then she sneered. Said Lin Feng indifferently. "Are you disappointed to see that I'm still alive, Miao Qing?" Fairy Miao Qing said. "Yes. If you die, we can save a lot of trouble," Lin Feng said. "That's what I'm thinking as well. If you die, it'll save me a lot of trouble. However, I've always been a man with tender feelings for the fairer sex. If you agree to become my concubine, I'll spare your life. How about it?" "Shameless boasting!" Fairy Miao Qing sneered. She leaped out and pushed both her hands towards Lin Feng. In an instant, a great sun and a bright moon appeared. The sun and moon complemented each other, forming a complementary force of yin and yang. They pressed down on Lin Feng. "Humph!" Lin Feng snorted coldly. Facing this attack, his expression did not change. Brandishing the arm of the dragon and elephant, it smashed towards the great sun and divine moon. Bang! Bang! 2 consecutive strikes. The great sun and divine moon were blasted away by Lin Feng. "Since you don't know what's good for you, how about this? I will capture you later. It just so happens that I have cultivated the great purification technique, and can purify you. After I purify you, you won't even be qualified to be my maid, let alone my concubine. At that time, you will be nothing more than a slave by my side." Lin Feng laughed loudly. Fairy Miao Qing's pretty face turned extremely ugly. Naturally, she had heard of the great purification technique before. At that time, she would lose her sense of self and become a zombie slave. But for her to agree to Lin Feng's request? It was unrealistic. Fairy Miao Qing continued running. But 2 hours later, Lin Feng caught up to her. Lin Feng began attacking Fairy Miao Qing. After a fierce battle, Fairy Miao Qing was no match for Lin Feng. Her body was restrained by Lin Feng and she fell to the ground. Lin Feng carried Fairy Miao Qing on his shoulder. "You bastard! Put me down!" Fairy Miao Qing screamed. At the next moment, Lin Feng threw Fairy Miao Qing onto the ground. Fairy Miao Qing fell so hard that her tears were about to flow out. She was cursing Lin Feng in her heart. How could he not know how to take care of her? But Fairy Miao Qing soon realized that something was amiss. After Lin Feng threw her down, he turned and flew into the distance. What happened? Fairy Miao Qing was puzzled. At this moment, she saw a skinny old man that looked like a malicious spirit walking over step by step from afar. With a single step, he was already a few hundred meters away. This was the earth shrinking technique. That malicious spirit-like old man chased after Lin Feng rapidly. Chapter 2155. Lin Feng didn't dare to stay for even half a minute, because he had seen the old divine servant from far away. The divine servant clearly didn't have good intentions, and Lin Feng was very clear about this. Thus, when he saw the divine servant, Lin Feng didn't even hesitate to turn and run. However, he soon saw the divine servant catch up to him. The divine servant was simply too fast. He didn't know what level the old man's cultivation was at. Lin Feng had thought that he was just an ordinary divine servant, but ever since he had met him in the 9 prefectures, Lin Feng knew that the old man wasn't just an ordinary divine servant. This old man was definitely not a simple divine servant. There were too many secrets hidden on him. Every time Lin Feng thought about the divine servant's gaze, he felt a chill run down his spine. It was as if the divine servant was sizing up his personal belongings. That gaze was simply too frightening. "Little friend, it's hard to meet an old friend. Why are you in such a hurry to leave?" the divine servant asked. Lin Feng replied, "This junior still has matters to attend to, so I'll be leaving first. If senior has nothing else to do, you can take a nap or fight some monsters," the divine servant said. "How could I not have anything to do? I came here to look for you." Lin Feng's face almost turned green. He already knew that the divine servant was plotting against him, even though he didn't know what it was. However, there was one thing that Lin Feng was clear about. If he fell into the divine servant's hands, he definitely wouldn't have a good ending. Previously, the divine servant would still try to hide it. However, the divine servant didn't even try to hide it now. Lin Feng said, "If senior has anything to say, you can just stand there and talk. There's no need for us to get too close. I'm young and have good hearing, so I can hear you even if I stand a bit further away." The divine servant laughed strangely and said, "Little friend, this isn't the attitude you should have when discussing matters. This isn't the attitude a junior should have in front of a senior either." Lin Feng cursed inwardly. "Damn. Old thing. You're here to take my life. Could it be that this young master has to stand here respectfully and wait for you to kill me?" Lin Feng said coldly. "Senior, you're not here to discuss matters. Since it's already come to this point, there's no need to hide it anymore. If you continue to hide it, then it's meaningless." The divine servant laughed strangely and said, "If you want to talk about something, then you should act like you're talking about something. Let's sit down and talk about things calmly. This is the attitude that both sides should have. There's no point in saying that. You're an old fox, but don't treat me like a fool. I've known for a long time that you're not a divine servant. I have more or less guessed your identity, so don't give me those empty words." Lin Feng sneered. Back then, this old servant had told Lin Feng the story of Luotian. Luotian, Fushi's daughter, the god of the Luo River. She was the goddess of heaven. Countless people fell head over heels for him. Countless years ago, Luotian traveled and bewitched countless gods. One of them was called Judas. He had a human face, a snake's body, and lived at the foot of Mount Zhong. He was an unusually powerful god, and he began to pursue Luotian. However, Judas wasn't the only god who pursued Luotian. There was another god called the North Pole Celestial Emperor. The two gods came to blows, and Judas emerged victorious over the North Pole Celestial Emperor. He thought he'd be together with Luotian, but he didn't expect Luotian to be embroiled in the great war of gods and demons. Judas fought his way into the battlefield and rescued Luotian from the brink of death. Unfortunately, Judas wasn't able to revive Luotian. When Luotian died, Judas moved to Luotian's temple and guarded her body day and night. After Judas' death, Judas' servants continued to guard the temple in his place. When the divine servant grew old, he would search for a successor. When the old divine servant died, a new divine servant would take his place and continue to guard the temple. At first, Lin Feng believed this story. But when he saw the divine servant in the 9 states, Lin Feng completely overturned his previous beliefs. If this old man was just an ordinary divine servant, how could he leave Luotian's temple? Divine servants were bound to guard the temple for eternity, unable to leave. This was their duty. If this old man wasn't a divine servant, and his cultivation was so terrifying, Lin Feng thought of 2 people. One was the North God Emperor. The other was Judas. Both of them had pursued Luotian, and they were the strongest of the cultivators who pursued her. The divine servant told Lin Feng the story of Judas' infatuation with Luotian. So Lin Feng guessed that this divine servant was none other than Judas. The divine servant said, "You are a smart man and talented. But smart people don't live long. No matter how talented you are, it's a waste." Lin Feng sneered. "What? You're not going to hide anymore? What do you want from me? Now you can say it without fear." While Lin Feng was communicating with the divine servant, he was also communicating with the demon lord. He called out to the demon lord, wanting to join forces with the demon lord to deal with the divine servant. But Lin Feng's expression turned ugly. The demon lord didn't respond. The divine servant cackled. "Stop your futile struggle. I've already severed your connection to the person you're trying to call out to." Lin Feng's expression darkened. The divine servant knew about the demon lord's existence. And he'd even severed his connection to the demon lord. The divine servant's cultivation was too terrifying. Without the demon lord's help, how was he supposed to fight the divine servant? "What are you plotting against me?" Lin Feng asked as he ran. "Man, in the end, cannot escape the fate of old age and death. It's good to be young." The divine servant cackled. Hearing the divine servant's words, Lin Feng's expression changed. "Old turtle, you're actually plotting against my body." Lin Feng's expression turned ugly. "Keek, such a perfect body like yours is hard to find in this world. If I'm not wrong, you've inherited two terrifying bloodlines. The first is the immortal divine body, and the second is the sovereign imperial body. Your origins are truly extraordinary. Just thinking about obtaining such a perfect body makes me excited." The divine servant cackled sinisterly. Lin Feng's expression turned ugly. He suddenly increased his speed. He pushed his speed to the limit. Currently, Lin Feng had no other way to deal with the divine servant, so he could only run. But the divine servant was also very fast. Lin Feng wasn't able to shake the divine servant off. Instead, the divine servant caught up to the main ship. "Why do you have to do such useless things? Your fate was already decided when we first met. The reason why I haven't done anything to you is because I want to keep you in captivity and unleash your talent. Only then can I obtain the greatest benefits." The divine servant caught up and waved his sleeve. Asterisk bang. Asterisk following a dull collision sound, Lin Feng was sent flying. Chapter 2156. "Isn't this old bastard too strong?" Lin Feng wanted to cry, but no tears came out. The divine servant's attack was too terrifying, enough to make one despair. However, Lin Feng wasn't one to give up so easily. He quickly got up. Then, he took out the 9-demon picture and regal sword tomb. Swoosh! With a flash, the regal sword tomb opened, and 4 swords flew out. "You have quite a few treasures on you, but they're still useless. Even if your cultivation is 100 times stronger than before, you won't be able to hurt me at all," said the divine servant. "You're bragging too much," Lin Feng sneered. "You'll know once you try." The divine servant wasn't angry. This old man's mentality was extremely good, like an ancient well without any ripples. He had lived to this age. It was very rare for anything in the world to cause such a huge fluctuation in the divine servant's emotions. The divine servant naturally didn't take Lin Feng's mockery to heart. Swoosh! Swoosh! The 9 demons painting and the 4 great swords all shot towards the divine servants. The 9-demon picture released a powerful emperor's aura. As for the 4 swords, their killing intent soared to the sky. The attacks of the 5 supreme treasures were naturally terrifying, instantly shattering the void. Even if a giant god realm powerhouse came, they would probably be killed in an instant. However, the divine servant still had an indifferent expression on his face. In other words, he didn't care about the situation before him at all. If you want to activate an emperor weapon, you need to use an emperor's law. If you don't have one, you need to use a quasi-emperor's law to activate part of the weapon's power. You don't have a quasi-emperor's law, and you don't have an emperor's law. An emperor weapon in your hands is like casting pearls before swine. As for those swords of yours, they all have great origins. Unfortunately, they're either destroyed or sealed, unable to release their power." The divine servant's voice was cold. He stretched out his withered right hand and grabbed at the 9-demon picture and the 4 swords. Crack! It was as if an invisible force had imprisoned the 9-demon picture and the 4 swords. No matter how hard the 9 demons painting and the 4 swords struggled, they could not break free from that invisible force. This divine servant was truly powerful. It instantly imprisoned Lin Feng's magic weapon. Lin Feng began to chant the incantation for the Great Curse technique. He used the curse to attack the divine servant. Clang! An invisible force struck the divine servant's body, but the divine servant didn't move at all. Seeing this, Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. The power of curses is truly interesting. You actually cultivated the most bizarre Tao of curses. What a genius! The divine servant sighed and stepped forward. A palm shot towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng quickly retreated, wanting to avoid the divine servant's attack. However, he was shocked to discover that the surrounding void had been sealed. His body was unable to move. This caused Lin Feng's expression to change. Bang! In the next moment, the divine servant's palm landed on Lin Feng's chest. With the divine servant's palm as the center, divine runes intertwined, completely sealing Lin Feng's body. F***CK, I'm done for! Lin Feng pulled a long face. Even though he was a very optimistic person, he was still a very optimistic person. Now that his body was sealed, there was nothing he could do. At this moment, the 9 demons painting floating in the air flew into Lin Feng's body and sank into it. The 4 great swords flew into the revered sword mound. Then, the revered sword mound also flew into Lin Feng's injured body. "If you dare to touch me, my master won't let you off!" Lin Feng shouted. At the same time, he smiled bitterly in his heart. Now, he had to use Lord Tortoise's name to intimidate others in order to protect himself. It was obvious how bad his current situation was. "Lord Tortoise?" The divine servant sneered. Although he didn't show any signs of abnormality, Lin Feng still noticed something. When he said the words, "Lord Tortoise," the divine servant revealed a deep fear between his brows. However, he soon suppressed the fear in his heart. "That's right! It's Lord Tortoise. My master is extremely powerful. If you attack me, you'd better think about the consequences." Lin Feng continued to threaten. The divine servant's expression changed. Then, he sneered and said, "It seems like you know quite a lot. But you don't have to use Lord Tortoise to threaten me. After this is done, I'll leave. In this big world, where will your master find me? Moreover, your master has his own mission. If you're still alive, he might save you. If you're dead, he won't find trouble for himself." As soon as he finished speaking, the divine servant grabbed Lin Feng's collar and lifted Lin Feng up into the sky, flying into the distance. Now that Lin Feng's body was sealed, he couldn't move at all. So, he could only let the divine servant carry him. "Where are you taking me?" Lin Feng asked. "We're looking for a place with beautiful scenery. I'll send you to the Western Paradise," the divine servant said sinisterly. The divine servant brought Lin Feng to the peak of a mountain. There was a huge platform here. Lin Feng saw densely packed runes on the platform and a temporary altar. A sacrifice! Lin Feng instantly thought of a possibility. He was a sacrifice? The divine servant wanted to sacrifice him? The divine servant seemed to know what Lin Feng was thinking and said, "Don't worry. This sacrifice isn't about sacrificing you. It's about summoning a mysterious power." "What are you trying to do?" Lin Feng asked with a gloomy expression. "Soul planting." The divine servant laughed strangely. "You know how to plant a soul?" Lin Feng's expression changed greatly. "You had a soul planted by a mysterious expert." Lin Feng had looked for the Taoist sect of soul masters to find a way to break through soul planting. He hadn't expected the divine servant to know how to plant a soul. The divine servant laughed and said, "I almost forgot. You're looking for the Tao sect of Soul Master's inheritance to break through that girl's soul-planting technique. I have to say, you're really infatuated, Lin Feng said with a gloomy expression. You want to plant your soul in my soul? Then slowly devour my soul and take over my body? The divine servant said. What you said is basically correct, but there are some parts that are ridiculously wrong. What parts are ridiculously wrong? Lin Feng asked. My soul-planting technique is different from the Tao sect of Soul Masters. The Tao sect of Soul Masters' soul-planting technique is very slow and requires a very long time to succeed. My soul-planting technique is extremely tyrannical. It only needs 2 hours to succeed. At that time, I'll obtain all of your memories and you'll disappear. In a way, I'm me, but I'm also you. The divine servant laughed sinisterly. Lin Feng's expression changed. If the divine servant's soul-planting technique was so tyrannical, then doesn't that mean I only have a little more than 2 hours to live at most? Take a good look at this world. Soon you won't be able to see it. The divine servant laughed sinisterly. Then he began to worship the heavens. He prepared to use the soul-planting technique on Lin Feng. Chapter 2157. Lin Feng was now certain that this old fellow had been hiding by his side for such a long time. Otherwise, he wouldn't have known so much about Lin Feng. He even knew that Yue had been affected by the soul-planting technique. He was truly a scheming old monster. After the divine servant laid out all sorts of offerings, he put on a very special ceremonial robe. The robe was covered with a dense array of strange runes. Those runes emitted an extremely demonic power. Lin Feng sat on the ground, unable to move. He laughed and said, Old man, that robe you're wearing is so strange. What kind of robe is that? Don't end up dying from the backlash instead of killing me. The divine servant said indifferently. You're about to die, yet you still dare to laugh and mock me. Your attitude is pretty good. Actually, I quite admire you. Unfortunately, every man for himself, the heavens punish him. No matter how much I admire you, only death awaits you today, Lin Feng said. Then I'll curse you to die before me. That way, I won't be able to die. Ha 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 ha, laugh. Laugh. Laugh to your heart's content. Soon, you won't be able to laugh anymore. The divine servant sneered. Then, he ignored Lin Feng and began the ritual. The great Tao of the heavens that surpasses all living beings in the world. I shall borrow your power. The divine servant began to chant. This was a language that Lin Feng didn't know, so he didn't know what the divine servant's incantation meant. Looking at the cloudless sky, he couldn't help but feel a sense of desolation. Over the years, he had gone through many life and death battles. Over the years, he had gone through many dangerous situations. Over and over again, he had crawled out from a pile of corpses. He had worked hard to become stronger. He had hoped that one day, he would be able to head into the depths of the universe to rescue his mother. However, after so many years of hard work, everything was going to be for naught. Lin Feng couldn't accept it. But now, what was the use of being unwilling? What was done could not be undone. Everything could no longer be reversed. Now, all Lin Feng could do was wait for death to descend upon him. A loud rumbling sound came from the 9 heavens. The originally clear and boundless sky instantly turned into rolling dark clouds. Amidst the dark clouds, a blood-red moon appeared. Heaven's day has turned into night. What happened? Look at the sky, there's a blood moon. In countless directions, countless cultivators pointed at the blood-red color in the sky. The appearance of the color of blood was too demonic. Lin Feng smiled bitterly as he looked at the blood-red moon in the sky. The sacrificial art performed by the divine servants was so extraordinary that it really shocked him. This kind of sacrificial technique was too terrifying, causing people's hearts to palpitate. However, this also reflected how terrifying the divine servants were. Judas. Lin Feng softly muttered this name. This was the name of the divine servant. In the past, he was an unimaginably powerful existence. Lin Feng guessed that he should be a sentient life form. Because Luotian was Fushi's daughter. Fushi was the ancient saint emperor of the human race. One of the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors. The inventor of gossip. The founding father of the human race. Fushi lived in a time when sentient lifeforms ruled the heavens. Among the oldest of the sentient lifeforms were Pangu, Nuwa, Zhurong, Gongong, and others. These were the strongest of the sentient lifeforms. Their strength must have reached the level of true immortals. Only a small number of the sentient lifeforms that appeared after them managed to reach the level of true immortals. Most of them were false immortals. Or perhaps they weren't even immortals. As for Judah's cultivation, Lin Feng didn't know. But if he really was a sentient life form, his cultivation must be unimaginably terrifying. So Lin Feng wasn't surprised that Judas had mastered some ancient and terrifying secret arts. When the ceremony was over, Judas sat down across from Lin Feng. "Kid, it's time to end this." Judas tapped Lin Feng's forehead with his right hand. Lin Feng sat up straight and closed his eyes. His expression was serene. Whoosh, a grayish-brown orb of light flew out. Then, the gray light flew into Lin Feng's brain. The orb of light was the soul of the divine servant. Soul planting meant to transform one's own soul into a seed and plant it in another soul. The seed would take root and sprout. It would spread and grow. The seed would devour all of Lin Feng's memories. These memories included all sorts of techniques, abilities, memories of family, lovers, friends, everything that happened, insights into the Tao, and so on. They would all be devoured. These memories were like nourishment for the divine servant. Lin Feng's soul was hidden in the ancient lamp of primordial chaos. When the divine servant's soul entered Lin Feng's mind, Lin Feng's soul began to attack it. 4 sky fires. Lia's stargazer. The primal chaos ancient lamp also swept out beams of primal chaos divine light. All 3 attacks were aimed at the divine servant's soul. But the divine servant's soul was too strong. It directly broke Lin Feng's attack. Then, it took Lin Feng's soul out of the ancient lamp of primordial chaos. "Kid, you don't have to struggle. Although your cultivation isn't weak, it depends on who you're compared to. Compared to me, you're like an ant." The divine servant's soul let out a sinister laugh. With a light tap, it hit Lin Feng's soul. Lin Feng's soul instantly lost all consciousness. The divine servant's soul turned into a seed. It quickly flew toward Lin Feng's soul. Then, the seed took root in Lin Feng's soul. At the same time, endless blood-red moonlight descended from the sky. It poured into Lin Feng's mind. They were all devoured by the divine servant's soul. Meanwhile, the soul seed began to grow roots. It took root in Lin Feng's soul. Lin Feng's various memories were absorbed by the seed. As time passed, Lin Feng's soul power became weaker and weaker. It wouldn't take long. Lin Feng's soul would be devoured. The divine servant's strange laughter came from within the seed. "Kik, this is great. I can already feel the aura of this body. It's so young and so powerful. This body will soon be mine. Devour, devour, devour." The divine servant laughed sinisterly, madly devouring the various memories in Lin Feng's soul. He kept looking at the memories that he had devoured. Suddenly, in the depths of Lin Feng's memories, a dusty memory. It was devoured by the divine servant. Then, this dusty memory was opened by the divine servant. "The era has ended, and I am immortal." An ancient and mysterious voice came out from the memory. Chapter 2158. When that voice came out, an unimaginably ancient aura filled the world. That aura. It was as if it wanted to pull people back to the world countless years ago. A hazy world appeared. A figure appeared in the era of the end of an era. 3,000 great eras, one era. One era, one reincarnation. When reincarnation began, it meant a new life. This was a time filled with hope. It could often give birth to unimaginably powerful existences. When reincarnation ended, it meant that everything had come to an end. The 5 decays of heaven and man appeared. The lives of billions of living beings came to an end. Even the most powerful existences could not escape death. That blurry figure saw the destruction of epochs one after another. Ah! When the divine servant read these memories, he immediately let out a miserable cry. The divine servant could not bear some of the things contained in these memories. The destruction of eras. The rebirth of eras. The destruction of eras after eras. The rebirth of eras after eras. The content contained within was too grand and vast. Bang! The divine servant's soul turned into a soul seed and exploded. All of Lin Feng's soul memories were originally devoured by the divine servant. Now they were absorbed by his soul. And the divine servant's soul origin suffered an unprecedented injury. The heavens want me dead! The divine servant's remnant soul let out a sorrowful cry. Bang, bang, bang! His remnant soul continued to explode. The divine servant's remnant soul did not dare to stay in Lin Feng's mind any longer. He quickly escaped. And after Lin Feng's soul devoured his original soul memories, it began to devour the divine servant's soul origin energy. The divine servant's soul was heavily injured. In Lin Feng's mind, a large amount of soul origin energy was left. And this soul origin energy would turn into the most powerful energy and replenish Lin Feng's soul. It helped Lin Feng to increase his soul power. It was because it was constantly absorbing the divine servant's soul origin energy. So Lin Feng still did not wake up. The divine servant's remnant soul returned to his original body. His already aged body seemed to have aged even more. Why does this brat have such memories in his soul? The divine servant roared in disbelief. He couldn't accept it. He was about to succeed. But in the end, it was all for naught. Furthermore, he had suffered unprecedented injuries. It's all your fault. I'll kill you! The divine servant looked at Lin Feng, who was lying on the ground, his eyes filled with boundless killing intent. This time, the soul planting failed. He had injured his soul origin. The divine servant had a premonition that his life was coming to an end. He hated Lin Feng. He blamed all of this on Lin Feng. Therefore, he wanted to kill Lin Feng. Boom! The divine servant attacked with a palm strike towards the motionless Lin Feng on the ground. If this attack landed on Lin Feng's body, then only death would await Lin Feng. At this moment, a tall and burly figure tore through the void and stepped out, throwing a punch at the divine servant. Bang! The two sides fiercely collided. The divine servant's heavily injured body was no match for this person, and he was forced to retreat. It's you! When the divine servant saw this man, his expression became extremely unsightly. He had seen this man before. However, they had never interacted before. Therefore, they were clearly separated. The divine servant didn't expect this man to save Lin Feng. This man was none other than someone else. It was the man who looked like a savage. You want to stop me from killing this brat? The divine servant's voice was cold. The savage said, Your fate is already irreversible, so why take your life? Just treat it as accumulating good karma after death. Ha 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 ha. The divine servant suddenly laughed. Accumulating good karma after death? Accumulating good karma after death? He let out a series of roars. He was really unwilling to accept this. But no matter what, he was unwilling. But now, everything could no longer be reversed. After roaring hysterically for a long time, the divine servant seemed to have seen through many things. Forget it! Forget it! That's it! Everything is over! The divine servant turned around and walked into the distance. His silhouette looked so sorrowful and lonely. Many people's lives, they could all be described as a dazzling painting. The divine servant's life, it was the same. However, the world didn't know what he had experienced in this life. Someone as powerful as him, after failing to plant his soul, he had already cut off all hope. The savage looked at Lin Feng and muttered to himself, Your bloodline has yet to awaken. Some things, giving you, will also harm you. The savage walked into the distance and disappeared in the blink of an eye. The dark clouds in the sky dispersed. The strange blood-colored moon also disappeared. Lin Feng woke up from his deep sleep. I'm not dead! Lin Feng shouted in surprise and quickly jumped up from the ground. The altar was still not far away. The divine servant had disappeared without a trace. He was still alive. All of this made Lin Feng feel like he was in a dream. Could it be that that old bastard found his conscience and gave up on planting his soul? Lin Feng muttered. However, after thinking about it carefully, he felt that it was impossible. That old bastard was too evil. How could he find his conscience? Then there was only one possibility. There was an accident with the soul planting. Heavens, my soul force has reached Giant God Realm 9th Celestial Layer! Lin Feng exclaimed. Originally, his soul force was at Giant God Realm 2nd Celestial Layer. Now, it suddenly rose to Giant God Realm 9th Celestial Layer. It rose by 7 levels in one go. Lin Feng felt like he was in a dream. It was too unbelievable. There must be a problem with the soul planting. Otherwise, my soul force wouldn't have risen so much, Lin Feng muttered. Now, he was even more certain that there was a problem with the soul planting. However, this also made him sigh in relief. This could be considered a blessing in disguise. In the distance, cultivators flew over. Those cultivators had all seen the strange phenomenon from before. They were here to investigate. Lin Feng didn't stay and quickly left. Then, he found a place to go into seclusion and familiarized himself with the various abilities brought about by his new soul realm. In the outside world, more and more cultivators entered the forbidden land of Tianhuang. Even the powerhouses of the Supreme Immortal Sect and other top forces crossed the continent to come. They entered the forbidden land of Tianhuang. Ancient powerhouses appeared one after another. Many of those powerhouses had been in seclusion for hundreds of thousands, or even millions of years. Now that the restriction of the forbidden land of Tianhuang was broken, they came to find the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Even if they couldn't obtain the method to become an immortal, if they could obtain the method to become an emperor, it was a heaven-defying opportunity. Boom! On this day, a shocking fluctuation came from the depths of the forbidden land. The immortal artifact that disappeared. It actually appeared again. Chapter 2159. The dazzling light floated in midair, making it impossible to see what kind of treasure it was. But the powerful immortal aura shook the world, shocking everyone. Now that the immortal artifact had reappeared, it quickly flew out from the depths of the forbidden land. Countless cultivators seemed to have gone mad as they rushed towards the immortal artifact, wanting to get their hands on it. In the end, the immortal artifact floated in midair and a high number of cultivators charged towards it. Then, these people started to fight for the immortal artifact. The corpses of experts fell from midair. Who knew how many cultivators had died? When Lin Feng came out of seclusion and saw the battle in the distance, he couldn't help but frown. Blood flowed like a river in this battle. But everything in this world was so cruel. In order to seek opportunities and obtain treasures, if cultivators didn't kill others, they were destined to be killed by others. The world of cultivators had always been bloody and cruel. There had never been any warmth to speak of. Voodoo doll. Suddenly, Lin Feng saw a familiar figure. It was the strange voodoo doll again. At this moment, the voodoo doll was floating in the forest with its mouth open. Streams of blood-colored energy were being absorbed by it. The blood-colored energy flew out from the bodies of the dead cultivators. Others were fighting to the death for the immortal artifact, but this voodoo doll was hiding in the dark and increasing its cultivation. Lin Feng silently sneaked towards the voodoo doll. Swoosh! He used the void travel method and hid in the void, gradually getting closer to the voodoo doll. Finally, Lin Feng arrived behind the voodoo doll. He suddenly exploded with power. He threw a punch at the voodoo doll. Bang! When the punch landed on the voodoo doll's body, the voodoo doll's body was blasted into pieces. But the voodoo doll's body flew back together, and then reassembled. This kind of method was really strange to the extreme. Kid, you want to kill me with this little ability of yours? You're still far from it, the voodoo doll shouted. Lin Feng said. Then I won't disturb you. You can continue to devour the blood-colored energy here. Take care, I won't see you off, said the voodoo doll. He didn't attack Lin Feng because he knew he couldn't do anything to Lin Feng at that moment. After Lin Feng left, the voodoo doll cursed. Brat, just you wait. When my cultivation level increases, see how I'll deal with you. The voodoo doll continued to devour the blood energy. Boom! Terrifying shockwaves swept through heaven and earth. Experts from top forces had made their moves. Some of the ancient families of the god realm of Infinite Wasteland. There were also experts from other sects, such as the Supreme Immortal Sect and the Sunset Immortal Sect. These forces were no longer willing to wait any longer. They wanted to snatch this immortal artifact. Chapter 2160. Finding an immortal artifact in this misty brown world was not an easy task. The key was after finding the immortal artifact. The immortal artifact would easily slip away. Lin Feng was not sure if the spirit of the immortal artifact was still alive or not. However, even if it was still alive, it should be in a deep sleep right now. These artifact spirits would not awaken so easily. The artifact spirit also had a lifespan. Every time it woke up, it consumed a lot of energy. Their lifespan declined very quickly. However, for a treasure like an immortal artifact, even if the artifact spirit did not awaken, it was still full of spirituality. Lin Feng felt that if he wanted to capture the immortal artifact, he would need to use his wits. Perhaps he could set up a great array. Then, he would think of a way to lure the immortal artifact into the great array. The attack power of an immortal artifact was extremely powerful. Ordinary great arrays would not be able to trap an immortal artifact at all. Therefore, if he wanted to trap an immortal artifact, he would need to set up some powerful great arrays. He would also need the assistance of a top-notch magic treasure to be able to suppress the immortal artifact. And Lin Feng happened to meet all the conditions. He found a valley to set up the array. He took out all sorts of precious array materials and successfully set up dozens of great arrays. After doing all this, Lin Feng began to search for the immortal artifact. He didn't know where this guy had run off to. Suddenly, a miserable scream was heard. Lin Feng was shocked. Could it be that someone else had suffered a calamity? He quickly rushed towards the direction of the scream. Soon, Lin Feng saw a corpse. This cultivator's death was almost exactly the same as the previous cultivator's. There was a bloody hole in his chest, dripping with blood. It was incomparably miserable. His heart had been dug out. It was truly tragic beyond compare. When Lin Feng saw the dead cultivator, he couldn't help but feel worried. He had the feeling that this cultivator's death and the previous one's death were very strange. Was it really man-made? Was there a need to create chaos? I've already seen 7 people die like this, someone said. I've seen 12 people die like this, the second cultivator said. I've also seen 5 cultivators whose hearts were dug out, the third cultivator said. Clearly, many people had already died like this. Previously, Lin Feng was setting up the array and did not walk around. Therefore, he only saw 2 people whose hearts had been dug out. Who on earth did this? Is it man-made, or is there something terrifying lurking here? One of the cultivators said with a serious expression. Their suspicions that there was a terrifying existence hidden here grew. Let's go! We don't want the immortal item anymore. Whoever wants to stay can continue to search here. We'll go look for other opportunities. The two sides clashed. Lin Feng hastily attacked. Because of that, he was forced back a dozen steps. It's you! Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. It was actually the Great Fiend Celestial. Kid, are you ready to die? The Great Fiend Celestial sneered. Lin Feng said, I just saw another Fiend Celestial appear. You can go and see if he's related to you. Really? You're not lying to me? The Great Fiend Celestial looked at Lin Feng suspiciously. Lin Feng smiled. I can swear to the heavens that I really saw another Fiend Celestial. If I lie to you, I'll be struck to death by lightning. Do you believe me now? Then where is he? The Great Fiend Celestial asked. Lin Feng pointed in a direction and smiled. He should be in that direction. When the great fiend celestial saw the smile on Lin Feng's face, he felt that something was amiss. However, Lin Feng had just sworn to the heavens. Thus, the great fiend celestial relaxed. Hurry up and find him. If you're late, that fiend celestial might have escaped. Lin Feng smiled in a resplendent way. I'll spare you this time, but the next time I see you, I'll eat you. Whoosh! With that, the great fiend celestial did not stay any longer. He quickly flew in the direction Lin Feng had pointed. Soon, he saw the fiend celestial cultivator in the distance. The great fiend celestial was very excited and quickly flew over. Where's my heart? Where's my heart? Where's my heart? The fiend celestial cultivator roared as blood flowed from the hole in his chest. When he saw the great fiend celestial, his eyes lit up and he quickly pounced on the great fiend celestial. What the? The great fiend celestial's face turned green when he saw the fiend celestial cultivator pouncing on him. He turned and fled. Chapter 2161. The great demonic god also knew that many cultivators' hearts had been dug out, but he didn't know who had done it. Now that he saw the demon god expert who had lost his heart, the great demonic god already knew who had done it. Clearly, the demon god expert had long since lost his sense of self, or perhaps he had already died. Only his last will remain to control this body. However, he was still very powerful. Although the great demonic god was very powerful, he knew that he was far inferior to the demon god expert who had lost his heart. Thus, the great demonic god immediately chose to flee. Demon god's heart! Demon god's heart! Demon god's heart! The demon god who had lost his heart roared. His voice was low and hoarse. He and the great demonic god were both demon gods. The hearts of other races might be useless to him, but the great demonic god's heart should be of some use. Thus, he increased his speed and chased after the great demonic god. The great demonic god had already regained his senses. As he fled, he cursed Lin Feng for being a good-for-nothing. Clearly, he had been tricked by Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng was searching for the immortal artifact. It's here! Don't let it escape! Someone shouted from afar. The immortal artifact had appeared again, and many people were chasing after it. However, the immortal artifact escaped without a trace. Not long after, Lin Feng saw the immortal artifact. The immortal artifact flew in front of him, but Lin Feng didn't chase after it. He knew that the immortal artifact had a spirit, and was just toying with the cultivators chasing after it. Using normal methods to chase after the immortal artifact? It was almost impossible. Lin Feng pretended not to see the immortal artifact, and walked towards the valley where the array was set up. When the immortal artifact saw that Lin Feng wasn't chasing after it, it flew back and swayed in front of Lin Feng. Lin Feng picked up a rock and threw it at the immortal artifact. Then he cursed, "Scram, you piece of scrap metal! Don't dirty my eyes!" The immortal artifact easily dodged the rock that Lin Feng threw at it. Then, it released a terrifying wave of energy. The immortal artifact seemed to be angry. Next, immortal light surged out from the immortal artifact, shooting towards Lin Feng. F***CK, this immortal artifact has really gained sentience. Lin Feng cried out in alarm, turned around and ran. Meanwhile, the immortal artifact was in hot pursuit. Moreover, they were constantly attacking Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng was able to dodge every single one of his attacks. The attacks from the immortal weapons became faster and more frequent. Lin Feng found it difficult to dodge. Bang! In the end, he was swept away by a beam of immortal light. With a plop, he fell to the ground. Smoke and dust rose everywhere. Lin Feng's back was badly mutilated and burned with pain. He hurriedly operated his immortal divine body to heal his injuries, then continued to fly into the distance. After injuring Lin Feng, the immortal artifact seemed to be very happy and it once again chased after Lin Feng. He launched an even more powerful attack. Lin Feng dodged the attacks of the immortal equipment in a very sorry state. He thought fiercely in his heart. Just you wait. After you've been refined by me, you'll see how I'll deal with you. Finally, Lin Feng saw the valley where the array was set up. He quickly rushed into the valley. The immortal equipment also chased after him. Buzz. Immediately after, array patterns intertwined. A powerful array had sealed off the area. Lin Feng's face revealed a look of joy. Let's see how you can run. He directly took out the 9 demons painting and attacked the immortal equipment. Bang, 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 the immortal equipment released immortal power. It collided with the 9 demons painting. This mysterious immortal equipment's level surpassed the 9 demons painting, but this immortal equipment was not controlled by anyone. It was a self-conscious counterattack. Its power was not released at all. Therefore, even though its level was higher than Lin Feng's 9 demons painting. However, this immortal equipment was unable to repel Lin Feng's 9 demons painting. Clatter. At the same time, chains flew out. These were chains condensed by the array. The chains wrapped around the immortal artifact. However, the immortal equipment was extraordinary. It sent out beams of immortal light, shattering the chains. Divine blood sacrificed to the immortal equipment, the demon lord said. Lin Feng's spirit was shaken. Ordinary methods could not refine immortal equipment. He could only rely on some powerful origin bloodlines. This was also the divine blood that the demon lord had mentioned. Of course, it was not easy to use divine blood to refine immortal equipment. It required an extremely domineering divine blood to be possible. Lin Feng forced out a drop of sovereign blood from his body. Among the various powerful bloodlines, the sovereign blood was definitely one of the most terrifying. The drop of sovereign blood quickly flew toward the immortal equipment. It entered the immortal light. It dripped onto the immortal equipment. Lin Feng's sovereign blood was instantly absorbed by the immortal equipment. Vaguely, Lin Feng had a strange feeling. This was a connection of bloodlines. He and the immortal equipment in the immortal light had a bloodline connection. Success! Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. This bloodline connection was a sign that the immortal equipment had been successfully refined. The immortal equipment did not continue to attack the 9 demons diagram. It floated in midair, unmoving. Lin Feng flew toward the immortal equipment, reaching out to grab it. He had no idea what kind of treasure this immortal equipment was. Thus, Lin Feng was very much looking forward to seeing what this immortal equipment looked like. Who would have thought that just as Lin Feng was about to take the immortal equipment? Suddenly, the immortal equipment soared into the sky, smashing a hole in the formation that Lin Feng had set up. Then, it charged out of the hole. Damn, why did it run again? Lin Feng cried out gloomily. He quickly chased after the immortal equipment. He was extremely puzzled. He had used the sovereign blood to refine this immortal equipment. Why? Why would this immortal equipment run? The immortal equipment ran all the way into the depths of the immortal equipment, quickly disappearing without a trace. If it was before, Lin Feng would be helpless against the immortal equipment. Where could he find it in the brown fog? But now, it was different. Lin Feng had a weak bloodline connection with the immortal equipment. Relying on this connection, Lin Feng could roughly sense where the immortal equipment had escaped to. Demon Lord, what's going on? I've already refined that immortal equipment, why is it still running away? Lin Feng asked. How can it be so easy to refine an immortal equipment? There are 2 steps to refining an immortal equipment. The first step is called divine blood refining. If your bloodline is strong enough, you can suppress the immortal equipment's resistance. If you can complete the first step, divine blood refining, you will need the second step, divine soul refining. You need to refine your soul imprint into the immortal equipment. Only then can it be considered as truly refining the immortal equipment, Demon Lord said. Damn. It's so troublesome. Doesn't that mean that this immortal equipment is not mine? Lin Feng said gloomily. Demon Lord said. No. This immortal equipment is already yours. After the divine blood refining, the immortal equipment will be yours. Others will not be able to refine it. If they want to refine it, they will suffer a backlash from the immortal equipment. However, although the immortal equipment is yours, if you want to control this immortal equipment, you still need to refine your divine soul refining. Only then can you control the immortal equipment like other magic treasures. Chapter 2162. Lin Feng chased after the immortal artifact by relying on his connection with it. In the end, he successfully left the misty brown world. Then, he came to an ancient mountain forest. The immortal artifact seems to have entered the depths of the mountain forest. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He flew carefully into the depths of the mountain forest. Boom! A thick stone rod fell from the sky and smashed toward Lin Feng. Whoosh! Lin Feng quickly moved to the left and dodged the attack. At this moment, he clearly saw what was attacking him. It was a 1,000-meter-tall golden divine ape. Its weapon was the stone rod. It was extremely hard and could shatter the sky with a light swing. What a terrifying aura! After seeing the golden divine ape, Lin Feng's expression changed slightly. He quickly rushed into the depths of the mountain forest, trying to get rid of the golden divine ape. The golden divine ape's huge body suddenly bounced up. Then, it held the stone rod with both hands. Once again, it smashed toward Lin Feng. Lin Feng dodged the golden divine ape's attack in a somewhat pathetic manner. The golden divine ape seemed to have its eyes on Lin Feng and was chasing him relentlessly. This was a primitive mutant. It was a terrifying beast recorded in the classic of mountains and seas. Before this, Lin Feng had never seen the golden divine ape before. This golden divine ape was the first golden divine ape he had seen. And this golden divine ape. It was unimaginably terrifying. It made Lin Feng tremble with fear. The golden divine ape chased Lin Feng for hundreds of miles. Roar! A deep roar was heard. In the mountain forest, a huge beast leaped up and pounced toward the golden divine ape. It was a very strange beast. Its body was like a deer, its tail like a dragon, its head like a crocodile, its limbs like an elephant, and there were dragon horns on its head. Moreover, its body was covered with a thick turtle shell. The beast was about 1,000 meters long and 700 to 800 meters tall. It was unusually ferocious. It opened its bloody mouth and bit toward the golden divine ape's neck. These huge beasts would often fight with each other. They all wanted to kill each other and devour each other's flesh. In this way, he could complete his own evolution. The golden divine ape and this strange ferocious beast were the two overlords of this forest. He had lost count of how many times they had fought. Every time, there was no clear winner. Now, they saw the golden ape chasing after a weak cultivator. That strange ferocious beast then lay dormant and launched a sneak attack on the golden divine ape. However, the golden divine ape's reaction was extremely fast. It raised the stone rod in its hand. Bang! With a dull thud, the golden divine ape's attack smashed into the strange beast's abdomen and sent it flying. However, even after receiving such a terrifying blow, the strange beast was not injured at all. That strange ferocious beast wasn't good at offense, but defense. Based on their defense, they were practically invincible. The strange beast roared and pounced towards the golden divine ape again. The two behemoths fought fiercely. Lin Feng had no interest in watching the battle between the two terrifying beings. If he stayed here to watch the battle, he might even be implicated. Lin Feng quickly flew into the distance. One day later, Lin Feng arrived at the deepest part of the ancient forest. He sensed the aura of an immortal artifact. The immortal artifact was in the depths of the ancient forest. He saw an incomparably huge ancient tomb. The ancient tomb covered an area of several thousand meters. That's... Soon, Lin Feng's face was filled with astonishment. He saw another shocking thing. A heaven-shaking stele. 100-meter-tall stele stood in front of the ancient tomb. Using the heaven-shaking stele as a tombstone? Lin Feng took a deep breath. His heart was pounding like a tidal wave. What kind of ancient tomb was this? How could a heaven-shaking steel be used as a tombstone? There were no words on the heaven-shaking steel. However, the steel was stained with the blood of a mysterious ancient being. The blood hadn't dried up yet. It was as if it had just been stained. He had seen a piece of the heaven-shaking stone steel that was stained with blood. In the ancient city, the mysterious heaven-shaking steel was stained with the blood of the sovereign emperor's ancestors. But this was a heaven-shaking stone tablet. Whose blood was it stained with? That person must be extremely terrifying. Was he as strong as the ancestor of the sovereign clan? Lin Feng saw an immortal artifact. It was hidden behind the heaven-shaking steel. Lin Feng was secretly delighted. He had gained a lot today. He had obtained an immortal artifact. He had even obtained a heaven-shaking steel. He walked toward the great tomb. However, when he was 1,000 meters away from the great tomb, Lin Feng felt a powerful pressure spreading toward him. The pressure came from the great tomb. This made him frown. This great tomb seemed to be unapproachable. He tried to get closer to the great tomb. The closer he got to the great tomb, the more he approached, the more terrifying the pressure became. At first, it was just a pressure. After walking a few meters, the pressure became as heavy as a mountain and an ocean. It was difficult to resist. In the end, Lin Feng used all his strength, but he could only walk 17 meters. However, he found it difficult to withstand the pressure released by the great tomb. There was a loud bang. Lin Feng was sent flying by the great tomb. What a powerful pressure! What is the origin of this great tomb? It's so terrifying! Lin Feng's expression became serious. This great tomb was too extraordinary. He didn't even know how this great tomb could condense such a terrifying pressure. That heaven-shaking steel, who was the one who placed it here? There were too many questions in Lin Feng's mind. How can I reach the heaven-shaking steel, take the immortal artifact, and carry the steel away? Lin Feng stroked his chin and couldn't help but think. At that moment, a terrifying aura came from afar. A man flew over. The man was wearing a blood-red robe. After seeing the man, Lin Feng quickly hid. He could feel the terrifying aura emanating from the man. The heaven-shaking steel! It's really here! The man in the blood-red robe descended from the sky. Buzz! At that moment, the mysterious immortal artifact flew into the air. A cold voice came from the immortal artifact. Those who are cursed should leave this place. Lin Feng was shocked. Could it be that the artifact spirit of the immortal artifact had awakened? A broken immortal artifact with an incomplete artifact spirit dares to say such words in front of me? Who gave you the courage? The man in the blood-red robe said coldly. It really is the artifact spirit of the immortal artifact. That immortal artifact is actually a broken one. Such a powerful immortal artifact is actually a broken one. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter inwardly. He had a new understanding of the power of immortal artifacts. Seeing that you've finally escaped, I'm advising you nicely. If you don't listen, you're just courting death, the artifact spirit said coldly. Chapter 2163. Ha 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 ha, seeking my own death? This is no longer the Eldritch era. In the past, if it wasn't for that incident, would I have been cursed? I'm taking the sky-shaking steel today. The crimson-robed man's voice was indifferent as he walked towards the sky-shaking steel step by step. His body emitted a terrifying aura. Boom! A powerful aura emanated from the great tomb and suppressed the crimson-robed man. That oppressive energy was really terrifying. Even though Lin Feng was hiding in the distance, when he sensed that oppressive energy, he was terrified. Lin Feng felt a shock that came from the depths of his soul. If the aura that he had endured earlier was as powerful as the one he was facing now, Lin Feng felt that he might have been killed. The crimson-robed man was terrifying. Even in the face of such a terrifying aura, he did not seem to be affected much. He continued to walk towards the sky-shaking steel. Whoosh! Whoosh! Chains of order were formed and swept towards the crimson-robed man. Every chain of order could easily shatter heaven and earth. The crimson-robed man's expression was indifferent. He raised his right hand and swept his fist towards the chains of order. Bang! Along with the sound of a violent collision, there was a loud sound. Both parties collided fiercely. The power of the chains of order was so extraordinary that the crimson-robed man was forced to retreat. Humph! The crimson-robed man snorted and his expression became extremely cold. A ball of scorching divine flame was circling his palm. Slash! He raised his right hand and used his palm as a saber. He slashed with his saber. A saber light formed by divine flame flew out. Then, it slashed towards the chains in the void. Clang! The resounding clanging sound of the collision rang out. When the crimson-robed man's flaming saber slashed at the chains of order, it was as if it was slashing at divine weapons. It could not break the attack of the chains of order. The crimson-robed man frowned slightly. Obviously, the power of the chains of order was beyond his expectations. Why? Do you feel strange? Do you know who the owner of this great tomb is? If you know, you'll be scared out of your wits, the artifact spirit said coldly. No matter how strong they were when they were alive, they are nothing but dust after death. Even if Pengu, Niwa, the 3 sovereigns and 5 emperors Chiyu, and Yenshin are buried here, so what? He's already dead. What do I have to fear? The blood-robed man's expression was cold. This was a very arrogant person. Of course, his strength was also strong enough. With that, the blood-robed man stepped forward and began to chant an incantation. The blood-robed man chanted one incantation after another. Immediately after, the chains of order in the void began to burn. A sacrificial technique? Lin Feng, who was hiding in the dark, couldn't help but raise his eyebrows when he saw the blood-robed man's divine ability. It was very similar to the 3,000 great Tao of the grand sacrificial art. The chains of order were all sacrificed and became the blood-robed man's supplies. The crimson-robed man absorbed all the energy he gained from the sacrifice, and his aura became even more terrifying. He continued to walk toward the heaven-shaking steel. Boom! The great necropolis was preparing a new attack. Demonic chi descended from the sky and suppressed the man in the blood-red robe. Bam! The man in the blood-red robe was sent flying. The might of that demonic chi was simply way too tyrannical. Cracking sounds could be heard. The blood-robed man's physical body was gravely injured. His body was actually cracking apart. The blood-robed man licked his lips and took another step forward. Punch after punch, he struck out at that demonic chi. Even though the demonic chi was extremely strong, under the continuous attacks of the blood-robed man, gradually, it was being shaken. At the same time, the blood-robed man's physical body was recovering rapidly. His physical body was extremely strange. It seemed to have the ability to heal itself. However, his physical body wasn't the immortal godly body. Of course, there were countless terrifying body constitutions and abilities in this world. Therefore, the blood-robed man's physical body could heal itself. There was nothing to be alarmed about. After a total of 36 punches, the demonic chi was destroyed. The blood-robed man was getting closer and closer to the heaven-shaking steel. Lin Feng frowned. He didn't wish for the blood-robed man to succeed. If this guy succeeded, he wouldn't have a share of the heaven-shaking steel. Rumble! Suddenly, a series of loud booms rang out as the great necropolis shook violently. Then, demonic chi gushed out. The demonic chi began to roll violently. The rolling demonic chi formed a torrent. Like an erupting flood, it blasted the blood-robed man away. Ah! The blood-robed man roared. Dense red hair appeared on his body. He instantly turned into a red-haired monster. Seeing the blood-robed man's transformation, Lin Feng's expression changed abruptly. Earlier, he saw a dense group of green-haired monsters. Apart from the color of their hair being different from the blood-robed man's, the rest of those green-haired monsters were exactly the same. Could it be that the blood-robed man and those green-haired monsters had awakened together under the treasure mountain? The blood-robed man's strength was far beyond those green-haired monsters. Lin Feng guessed that this blood-robed man might be the leader of those green-haired monsters. After transforming into a red-haired monster, the blood-robed man's strength increased greatly. He walked through the rolling demonic chi as if he was entering a place with no one around. Trespassing into the great necropolis will only result in death. Since you don't know what's good for you, I'll kill you today, the artifact spirit said coldly. Boom. The immortal artifact emitted a terrifying aura. Then, a destructive light beam shot out from the artifact. It shot towards the red-haired monster. Roar! The red-haired monster's roar shook the sky. He threw a punch at the incoming beam of light. Kacha kacha! Then, the light beam shattered. The power of this immortal artifact doesn't seem right. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. If the artifact spirit of the immortal artifact had awakened, the power of the immortal artifact definitely shouldn't be this weak. Therefore, Lin Feng felt that it was very strange. He kept feeling that something was wrong, but he couldn't tell what exactly was wrong. At this time, the red-haired monster had already rushed to the front of the heaven-shaking steel. Acting all mysterious, come out! The red-haired monster roared and quickly rushed behind the heaven-shaking steel. Whoosh! At this time, a small beast quickly ran out. It dodged the red-haired monster's attack. It was a small golden beast. Its body was only half a meter long. There was a lightning bolt pattern on its forehead. Its appearance was a bit like a fox, but also a bit like a weasel. A lightning marten! Lin Feng was shocked. The small beast was a lightning marten. Earlier, it wasn't the artifact spirit that had spoken. It was actually this lightning marten. However, this lightning marten had used some unknown method to transmit its voice out from the immortal artifact, making others think that it was the artifact spirit that had spoken. You dare attack Grandpa Marten? Are you tired of living? The lightning marten glared viciously at the blood-robed man. Chapter 2164. A mere lightning mink dares to act so impudently before me? You really don't know the meaning of death. Do you believe that I can crush you to death with a single hand? The red-furred monster sneered. The mink was furious. A warrior prefers death to humiliation. Grandpa Mink is not someone to be trifled with. Hurry up and kneel before me, kowtow and apologize, and I'll spare your life. If you don't know how to appreciate my kindness, I'll chop you into pieces. The red-furred monster sneered. Your boasting has reached the heavens, and you want to chop me into pieces? Today, I'll kill you and make you into a dish to go with wine. Shwa! The red-furred monster attacked the mink. His right hand formed a claw, and a terrifying cold gleam shot out. I'll dodge! The mink was very fast, and it quickly dodged the attack. The lightning mink immediately shouted proudly. You're still far from being able to hurt me, Grandpa Mink. The mink did not notice that the attack it had just dodged did not dissipate. Instead, it circled around and attacked it from behind. Thus, as soon as the mink finished speaking, the cold gleam struck the mink. The mink was sent flying, and it rolled on the ground, kicking up a cloud of dust. You deserve to die! The red-furred monster sneered. Ouch, it hurts Grandpa Marten to death. You bastard, you even dare to hit Grandpa Marten. Do you know who Grandpa Marten is? If I tell you who I am, you'll definitely piss your pants. The lightning mink howled. However, it didn't forget to boast about itself even as it howled. You're still alive? Interesting. The red-furred monster's sinister eyes looked at the mink. The mink retreated while shouting. Red-furred monster, do you want to remove the curse? If you want it, kneel on the ground and beg Grandpa Marten. If Grandpa Marten is in a good mood, I might even tell you the method to remove your curse. You know how to do that? The red-furred monster's eyes shone brightly. Of course, the mink said proudly. Are you tempted? If you're tempted, then quickly kneel down and beg for mercy. I, Grandpa Marten, have always been kind-hearted. Maybe I'll take pity on you and help you. The red-furred monster sneered. Wouldn't it be much easier to just kill you and seize your soul and memories? It would save me a lot of trouble. As soon as he finished speaking, the red-furred monster didn't even care about the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Instead, it pounced towards Grandpa Marten. Clearly, the red-furred monster was extremely concerned about the curse it had been afflicted with. To a certain extent, it even surpassed the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Seeing the red-furred monster charging at him, Grandpa Martin immediately cursed loudly. "Red-furred monster, you are courting death! Based on Grandpa Martin's previous temper, I would have slapped you to death with a single slap. But now, Grandpa Martin has changed. It has been a long time since I last killed, so I will spare your puny life." Grandpa Martin ran off into the distance after acting tough. Although Grandpa Martin's strength was not up to par. However, his speed was extraordinarily fast. Such a fast speed, it really lived up to the name of Lightning Mink. Lin Feng, who was hiding in the dark, muttered to himself. This Grandpa Martin only knew how to talk big. He didn't have any strength and only knew how to brag. Humph! Seeing the Lightning Mink flee, the red-furred monster couldn't help but snort coldly. The red-furred monster didn't chase after Grandpa Martin. Instead, it turned around and walked towards the heaven-shaking stone tablet. At this moment, a man flew over from afar. This man was none other than Savage. He was also looking at the heaven-shaking stone tablet. "It's mine." Savage's expression was indifferent. "It's mine," the red-furred monster said coldly, opposing Savage with equal harshness. "It's mine, okay?" Lin Feng, who was hiding in the dark, muttered. He also wanted to snatch the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Unfortunately, his strength was limited. Lin Feng's gaze landed on the immortal artifact hovering beside the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Even if he couldn't obtain the heaven-shaking stone tablet, he had to obtain the immortal artifact. Boom! Boom! Savage and the red-furred monster both emitted terrifying auras. Their auras grew stronger and stronger. Step by step, they walked towards each other. These two terrifying existences had yet to fight. However, they had already used their auras to intimidate their opponents. Swoosh! A bolt of lightning flew over and turned into Grandpa Martin. It stopped not far from Lin Feng and stretched its head to observe the two people standing in front of the tomb. "Yo! Kid, what's the point of hiding? Do you think those two didn't notice you?" Grandpa Martin glanced at Lin Feng and said indifferently. When Lin Feng tried to approach the heaven-shaking stone tablet, Grandpa Martin saw Lin Feng. However, Grandpa Martin didn't pay any attention to Lin Feng. Lin Feng said indifferently, "Don't disturb me while I watch the battle. F***ck, Grandpa Martin is speaking to you because I think highly of you." "How dare you speak to Grandpa Martin in such a tone? I can't defeat the red-furred monster, but do you think I can't defeat you?" Grandpa Martin shouted fiercely and charged at Lin Feng. It waved its claws and slapped at Lin Feng. Grandpa Martin loved to brag. Then, it would bully the weak and fear the strong. It felt that Lin Feng was easy to bully, so it attacked without hesitation and decided to teach Lin Feng a lesson. Lin Feng swung his fist and punched at Grandpa Martin. Bang! A muffled sound of collision was heard. Grandpa Martin was sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. It fell to the ground with a plop. "Oh my God, you perverted guy! How can you be so strong?" Grandpa Martin wailed. It got up from the ground and looked at Lin Feng fiercely. "Kid, kneel on the ground and kowtow to Grandpa Martin. Otherwise, Grandpa Martin will use the 9 heavens and 10 earths immortal slaying demon slaughtering divine art and kill you." Grandpa Martin was acting tough again. "Do you want to try my fist again?" Lin Feng waved his right fist. Grandpa Martin was so frightened that it trembled. It shouted, "A good Martin doesn't fight with others. Grandpa Martin will let you go and spare you this time. If there's a next time, I'll kill you without mercy." Bam! At this moment, the savage and the red-furred monster finally collided. It was as if 2 planets had collided. Crack! 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 The surrounding forest began to collapse. Only the place where the great tomb was located was protected by a restriction. That was why it was able to withstand the terrifying destructive power of the battle between the 2 experts. Lin Feng and Grandpa Martin quickly retreated and watched the battle from afar. Damn, if you want to fight, then fight. Why do you have to cause destruction? Grandpa Martin pursed its lips. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes and looked at Grandpa Martin. Grandpa Martin's strength was nothing special. Chapter 2165. What are you looking at? Have you never seen such a handsome mink before? Grandpa Martin noticed that Lin Feng was looking at it, and it immediately spoke proudly. Lin Feng smiled and said, That's right. I've been subdued by Grandpa Martin's supreme demeanor. Grandpa Martin was extremely happy when it heard this. It smiled and said, Kid, you really know how to talk. Bang! At that moment, intense waves of energy surged out once again. Lin Feng and Grandpa Martin couldn't help but look at the two people fighting. The savage and the red-furred monster clashed once again. Both of them had heaven-defying cultivations. Thus, it was extremely difficult to defeat them. Their duel didn't involve any powerful divine abilities or moves. It was just a punch. A kick. A punch to the flesh. However, this kind of collision was even more shocking. Although the two's attacks seemed simple, they had actually reached the level of returning to the basics. That seemingly simple attack contained a lot of mysteries. It was something that ordinary people couldn't imagine. What's the origin of that red-furred monster? Lin Feng asked Grandpa Martin. Grandpa Martin looked at Lin Feng cautiously and said, Why are you asking this? I'm just curious, said Lin Feng, smiling. Grandpa Martin pursed its lips and said, No comment. 100,000-year-old immortality peach. It's a gift to you, Grandpa Martin. Have a taste. Lin Feng took out a peach and handed it to Grandpa Martin. Are you trying to bribe me? Grandpa Martin's eyes were fixed on the peach in Lin Feng's hand. Lin Feng nodded and said, That's right, congratulations, Grandpa Martin has been bribed by you. Grandpa Martin grabbed the peach and began to chew on it. In the distance, the savage and the red-furred monster were fighting fiercely. It was extremely shocking. However, Lin Feng and Grandpa Martin weren't paying attention to the battle at all. Lin Feng was focused on finding out more useful information from Grandpa Martin. For example, the red-furred monster's origin, the Great Tomb's origin, whether it could help him break the curse, and so on. Of course, Lin Feng knew that even if he wanted to ask these questions, he had to do it step by step. No matter what, one shouldn't eat until one is fat. Grandpa Martin's attention was focused on the peach. This guy was eating with relish. He was getting carried away. When Grandpa Martin finished eating, Lin Feng smiled and asked, How was the taste? SOSO. Fortunately, I can still swallow it, Grandpa Martin said indifferently. He was very good at acting tough. Lin Feng smiled. Now, can you tell me where the red-haired monster came from? That red-furred monster was indeed a powerful character in the past. During the Desolate Era, when heroes rose, he could be considered a top character. However, he was too confident, so much so that he became arrogant. In the end, he fell into someone's trap and was cursed. He became a red-furred monster, while his subordinates became green-furred monsters. Grandpa Martin said. Lin Feng continued, He was so powerful in the past. What kind of existence could curse him? Grandpa Martin said, I can't tell you this. I can't tell you. It's not a big deal if I reveal it, right? Lin Feng said. There are some terrifying things involved. Knowing it won't do you any good. Grandpa Martin said calmly. Lin Feng asked, Who is that great tomb? Grandpa Martin didn't answer. Instead, he looked at the savage and red-furred monster in the distance, clapping his hands from time to time. How could Lin Feng not know what Grandpa Martin was thinking? He took out another immortality peach and passed it to Grandpa Martin. Grandpa Martin smiled and said, Kid, you're not bad. You're quite smart. Crunch, crunch! Grandpa Martin began to chew on the immortality peach. He had an intoxicated expression on his face. Seeing how Grandpa Martin ate, Lin Feng had the urge to take out an immortality peach and have a taste. After finishing the peach, Grandpa Martin said, "The owner of this great tomb isn't simple. It's the tomb of the number one expert of the Desolate Era, the Desolate Lord." The Desolate Lord? Lin Feng was shocked. Just by hearing the name, one could tell how amazing the person was. Moreover, this was the Desolate Era. Lin Feng had some understanding of the Desolate Era. It was rumored that the Desolate Era was the first era of prosperity after the Xiantian lifeforms went extinct. Experts were as common as the clouds. And the person buried in this place was actually the Chaos Lord. That was simply too terrifying. Lin Feng was about to ask another question. Suddenly, Grandpa Martin shouted, "Not good. Those two are courting death." Lin Feng looked over. Immediately, he saw that the savage and the red-furred monster had already arrived before the heaven-shaking steel. At this moment, the two of them stopped fighting. With one on each side, they grabbed the edge of the heaven-shaking steel. Then, they exerted force, trying to pull the heaven-shaking steel out. The two of them had heaven-defying cultivation, and the enormous heaven-shaking steel was shaken. Rumble! Rumble! A series of violent sounds rang out. Next, the heaven-shaking steel was forcefully pulled out. Bang, bang, bang! The savage and the red-furred monster grabbed the edge of the heaven-shaking steel with one hand, while the other hand smashed at each other across the void. Streaks of fist radiance condensed and then collided in the void. After the two of them pulled out the heaven-shaking steel, they started fighting over it. This treasure is really enviable. Those ancient experts didn't hesitate to fight to the death for the heaven-shaking steel. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh in his heart. Courting death. Courting death. You're just courting death. Grandpa Martin paced on the spot. He was also muttering something under his breath. "What are you mumbling about?" Lin Feng asked curiously. "Just watch, those two guys are courting death," Grandpa Martin said. Rumble. At this moment, a terrifying aura surged out from the heaven-shaking steel. The heaven-shaking steel seemed to have a soul of its own. And now, it had awakened. Bang! Bang! The heaven-shaking steel sent the savage and the red-furred monster flying. "Ha ha ha, did you see that? The heaven-shaking steel has awakened. It's angry. Those two are dead." Grandpa Martin laughed crazily. He looked at the savage and the red-furred monster with a gloating expression. The heaven-shaking steel continued to grow bigger and bigger. Not long later, it grew to a height of 1,000 meters, like a mountain, and enveloped the savage and the red-furred monster. Loud rumbling sounds rang out. Even the void was trembling violently. Numerous runes appeared on the heaven-shaking steel. The gigantic stone tablet displayed a terrifying might that defied the heavens. Chapter 2166. The heaven-shaking stone tablet was extremely domineering. Fighting one against two, it was still so domineering and crushing everything. It was indeed incomparably terrifying. A loud rumbling sound shook the void. The surrounding order of heaven and earth was affected by the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Heaven and earth seemed to be about to freeze. The savage and the red-haired monster felt that their bodies were unable to move. The heaven-shaking stone tablet restrained their bodies, causing them to be unable to move. However, the methods of these two were extremely terrifying. A terrifying power surged out of their bodies. That power offset the pressure of the heaven-shaking stone tablet. The two of them took a step forward and threw punches at the heaven-shaking stone tablet one after another. Bang, 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 the two sides collided. The enlarged heaven-shaking stone tablet was too powerful. After 3 consecutive collisions, the savage and the red-haired monster were once again sent flying by the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Lin Feng knew very well how powerful the savage and the red-haired monster were. Such existences were probably invincible in the world. However, it was still difficult to block the attacks of the heaven-shaking stone tablet. One had to know that no one had activated the heaven-shaking stone tablet. The heaven-shaking stone tablet was only awakening on its own. It had already displayed such terrifying power. If someone activated the heaven-shaking stone tablet, Then wouldn't the power of the heaven-shaking stone tablet increase by dozens of times? Just thinking about it made people shudder. The heaven-shaking stone steel was really too terrifying. Myriad Tao destruction! The savage attacked, sweeping a punch towards the heaven-shaking stone tablet. A special Tao was emitted from the savage's body. This was the Myriad Tao destruction Tao. Between the worlds, thousands of Taos, I will break them with a punch. This was the true essence of the Myriad Tao destruction Tao. When this peerless technique was executed, it instantly displayed an unimaginably terrifying combat strength. Destruction of the heavens. Destruction of the worlds. Who could compete with it? The void collapsed. The great Tao destruction Tao. Who could match it? In an instant, the savage seemed to have turned into an immortal king. Wheel of Destiny! The red-haired monster attacked as well. His attack was also incomparably terrifying. Above his fist, a mysterious roulette was condensed. This wheel. It was condensed from the power of destiny. The red-haired monster seemed to have transformed into the master of destiny, grasping the most powerful Tao of destiny. When he had first awakened, he had used the path of destiny. The red-furred monster's comprehension of the Tao of destiny. He had definitely reached an unfathomable level. The wheel of destiny began to spin in the void. Then, he charged toward the heaven-shaking steel. The two experts displayed their peerless skills. The heaven-shaking steel was shaken. The gigantic heaven-shaking steel was sent flying again and again. The runes that appeared on the surface of the heaven-shaking stone tablet began to dim. The energy ripples of the heaven-shaking stone steel became weaker and weaker. Lin Feng said softly, "Grandpa Martin! Looks like you miscalculated. Those two fellows are too powerful. They're going to suppress the heaven-shaking stone tablet." Grandpa Martin said, "How could the heaven-shaking steel be suppressed so easily? Just you wait and see, the heaven-shaking steel is about to show its might." Just as Grandpa Martin finished speaking, a strange change happened to the blood on the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Originally, there was only a small area on the heaven-shaking stone tablet that was stained with blood. Yet, at that very moment, that pool of blood was growing and expanding nonstop. Very soon, the entire heaven-shaking stone tablet was covered in blood. The heaven-shaking stone tablet turned into a blood-colored heaven-shaking stone tablet. The runes that appeared on the heaven-shaking stone tablet. They also turned into blood-colored runes. It was extremely strange. Eras change, but I'm immortal. Eras collapse, but I'm eternal. Reincarnation is hard to destroy, heaven's way is hard to hurt. Billions of immortal skills, endless mystical skills. At the peak of the great Tao, only I am supreme. Suddenly, a faint voice came from the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Swoosh! Then, a radiance flickered. A shocking and moving scene appeared. All sorts of divine abilities flew out from the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Wheel of Reincarnation! Gate of Karma! Reversal of the Milky Way! Great Calamity Skill! Great Yin-Yang Skill! Great Creation Skill! Stars shift! Heaven falls and earth rends! Instant eternity! Time freeze! Time flies! Wait! There were countless divine abilities that covered the sky. These divine abilities included immortal skills, half-immortal skills, and 3,000 great Taos. The heaven-shaking stone tablet didn't record any divine abilities like the primordial divine ability. Billions of divine abilities descended, and the world seemed to have turned into a sea of divine abilities. The divine abilities that covered the sky all smashed toward the savage and the red-furred monster. Damn, this works too? The corner of Lin Feng's mouth twitched violently. This heaven-shaking stone tablet was too monstrous, wasn't it? It actually used billions of divine abilities to attack at the same time. It was too terrifying. It was shocking and moving. Retreat. The savage and the red-furred monster were shocked. The two didn't fight it head-on. It wasn't wise to fight it head-on. The two dodged the heaven-shaking stone tablet's first wave of attacks. The heaven-shaking stone tablet didn't chase after them. Instead, it soared into the sky and flew into the distance. In the blink of an eye, it disappeared without a trace. The savage and the red-furred monster quickly gave chase. They weren't willing to let the heaven-shaking stone tablet escape just like that. "Whose blood is on the heaven-shaking stone tablet?" Lin Feng asked as he took out an immortality peach and handed it to Grandpa Martin. Grandpa Martin smiled as he took the immortality peach. Then, he started to chew on it. After he finished eating, he said slowly, "It's said to be sinner's blood." Lin Feng's mind shook slightly. Sinner's blood. It was actually sinner's blood. If he didn't remember wrongly, sovereign's blood. In the eyes of some living beings, this was the so-called sinner's blood. Grandpa Martin looked at Lin Feng meaningfully and said, "The sinner's blood is too powerful and isn't allowed to appear in the world. It's still fine in the mortal world, but if you go to the worlds controlled by the celestial race or the immortal race, such as the undying world or the celestial realm, the moment the sinner's blood appears in the world, those factions will definitely kill them mercilessly." Lin Feng asked. "Why?" "Fear," Grandpa Martin said calmly. Lin Feng frowned slightly. He could understand what Grandpa Martin meant. The so-called sinner's blood. It was just a name that some factions added. Because they feared this bloodline. Therefore, they wanted to eliminate people with this bloodline. "I heard that there are several types of sinner's blood. Which clan's sinner's blood was on the heaven-shaking stone tablet?" Lin Feng asked. Grandpa Martin's eyes flickered as he said, "I'm not sure either." How could Lin Feng not know that Grandpa Martin didn't want to say? It wasn't that he didn't know. He didn't continue asking. Given Grandpa Martin's personality, if it wanted to say, it would definitely say. If it didn't want to say, it would be pointless to ask. Lin Feng took out another immortality peach and handed it to Grandpa Martin. Then, he asked, "Do you have a way for me to obtain that immortal artifact?" Chapter 2167. This immortal equipment was too strange. Lin Feng had chased it for a long time but could not catch up to it. If he appeared later, this immortal equipment would definitely run away. Now, Lin Feng only needed one more step to completely fuse with the celestial weapon, and then he would be able to control it. Naturally, he was very concerned about this immortal equipment. Previously, Lin Feng saw that Grandpa Martin seemed to be able to control this immortal equipment. Thus, he asked Grandpa Martin how to do it. Grandpa Martin chewed on the immortal peach as he said, "This immortal equipment is just a piece of junk. It has been broken by someone and doesn't have an equipment spirit. You want such a piece of junk?" A broken immortal equipment was still an immortal equipment. An immortal equipment without an equipment spirit was still an immortal equipment. Moreover, even if an immortal equipment was broken, even if it did not have an equipment spirit, its power was definitely many times stronger than an emperor weapon. Moreover, so what if it did not have an equipment spirit? The equipment spirit was born from the immortal equipment. Even if it did not have an equipment spirit now, a new equipment spirit could be born in the future. Grandpa Martin was used to bragging. Thus, Lin Feng treated Grandpa Martin's arrogant words as bragging. Lin Feng said, "Grandpa Martin, you see, I don't have any suitable weapons. You are experienced and knowledgeable, so you naturally don't care about that broken immortal equipment. However, this junior cannot compare to you." Hearing Lin Feng's flattery, Grandpa Martin felt as if he was about to fly into the sky. Grandpa Martin's personality was that he loved to brag and listen to people flatter him. He smiled and said, "Grandpa Martin likes people like you. They like to speak the truth." Lin Feng smiled and said, "Grandpa Martin, you are so wise and powerful. I worship you from the bottom of my heart. Everything I say is from the bottom of my heart." "Ha ha!" Grandpa Martin put his hands on his waist and laughed, saying, "Kid, can you keep a low profile? Although Grandpa Martin is indeed such a person, it's fine if you know it in your heart. Don't say it when you see people." Lin Feng said, "Grandpa Martin is such a wise and powerful senior, he should be worshipped by everyone. How can I be the only one worshipping Grandpa Martin?" Once we leave the forbidden area of Heaven Wasteland, I will not only publicize Grandpa Martin's noble character and great deeds, but I will also build a temple for Grandpa Martin so that everyone can worship Grandpa Martin." When Grandpa Martin heard this, he was so happy that he rocked back and forth. He grinned and said, "Say, if you want to worship me, then worship me. Why do you have to make the entire city know about it? You little brat, you must keep a low profile next time." Grandpa Martin humbly replied before asking, "Do you really intend to help me build a temple?" "Of course, a man of character always keeps his word," Lin Feng said with a smile. "Look, you little brat, you're really too enthusiastic." Grandpa Martin was so excited that it danced with joy. Lin Feng said with a smile, "Grandpa Martin, can you help me refine that immortal equipment? In the future, when I build a temple for Grandpa Martin, there will definitely be many people who will cause trouble and destroy Grandpa Martin's temple. Junior needs to use this immortal equipment to drive those people away. Junior must protect Grandpa Martin's temple well." Grandpa Martin said with a smile, "Kid, you're too considerate. Since that's the case, Grandpa Martin will help you subdue this immortal equipment." Then Grandpa Martin put his hands behind his back and swaggered out of the forest. This was a very strange scene. A lightning Martin was actually walking upright like a human. Moreover, it had a valiant and high-spirited appearance. Behind the lightning Martin, there was a young human cultivator following behind. Grandpa Martin said, "Although this immortal equipment is damaged, it is still extraordinary. Moreover, it has nurtured a powerful spirituality. I can faintly sense that a new equipment spirit has been nurtured in the depths of this immortal equipment. However, the nurturing and growth of an equipment spirit requires a process. The new equipment spirit has yet to be completely nurtured, so it has always been dormant. However, I reckon that it will awaken soon. That equipment spirit will awaken at any time and anywhere to control the immortal equipment. Therefore, now is the best time for you to refine this immortal equipment. If you wait until the equipment spirit awakens, with your little bit of cultivation, you will be lucky if you don't get beaten to death by the equipment spirit to refine the immortal equipment." Grandpa Martin looked as if he was giving advice. This fellow had completely forgotten how he was sent flying by Lin Feng's punch. Lin Feng said with a smile, "Grandpa Martin's lesson is right. Junior will definitely remember it in his heart. This child is teachable. This child is teachable." Grandpa Martin grinned. An immortal equipment had a spirit. It did not want to be refined by Lin Feng. Therefore, when it sensed Lin Feng's aura, the immortal equipment turned around and fled. At this moment, Grandpa Martin was chanting something. It seemed to be chanting an incantation. After Grandpa Martin finished chanting, the escaping immortal equipment actually flew back towards Lin Feng. "What kind of technique is this?" Lin Feng asked in shock. "Well, it's just a little trick," Grandpa Martin said arrogantly. "The little trick that Grandpa Martin mentioned must be a peerless technique in the eyes of others, right?" Lin Feng said. Grandpa Martin said with a calm expression, "This divine ability is called the Army Character Formula. Have you heard of it?" "Damn, the 9 syllables Army Character Formula?" Lin Feng exclaimed. "Lin Bing Do Zhe Jie Jin Lai Zai Qian." This was the 9 syllables true formula. It was the most ancient divine ability of Taoism. Lin Feng had grasped the incantation, Lin. Why was Lin Feng's comprehension ability so heaven-defying? He could comprehend any divine ability. He was unlike others who could not comprehend a powerful divine ability even if they spent their entire lives comprehending it. Lin Feng's comprehension ability was strong. First, it was related to his talent. Second, it was related to the incantation, Lin. Cultivating the incantation, Lin, could help a cultivator comprehend the Tao. Any Tao. One could comprehend it. As for the incantation, Army, Lin Feng had seen it before. Tianwu Continent's demon race's Peacock King had grasped the incantation, Army. Lin Feng was drooling over this divine ability. Grandpa Martin squinted his eyes at Lin Feng and said, "You also know the Army character incantation?" I know. It's one of the greatest inheritances of Taoism." Of course, in Grandpa Martin's eyes, it's just an ordinary divine ability. It's nothing in Grandpa Martin's eyes, Lin Feng said with a smile. Grandpa Martin said proudly, "Your words are very good. Grandpa Martin has plenty of divine abilities of this level. In Grandpa Martin's eyes, the army character incantation is indeed ordinary." Grandpa Martin's pretentious act reached a new height. Lin Feng muttered in his heart, "I'll think of a way to get the army character incantation later." If it was someone else, it would be almost impossible to learn the army character incantation. But if he wanted to learn the army character incantation from Grandpa Martin, it would be much easier. "Take this immortal equipment and refine it!" Grandpa Martin threw the immortal equipment to Lin Feng. Lin Feng grabbed the immortal equipment, his hands trembling. This was an immortal equipment. He was going to have an immortal equipment. At this time, the immortal light was restrained. Lin Feng finally saw the appearance of this mysterious immortal equipment. When Lin Feng saw Grandpa Martin's secretive expression, he knew that the tomb of the Chaos Master was most likely hiding a great danger. Thus, he did not continue to persuade Grandpa Martin to enter the tomb with him. Lin Feng thought of the curses on his body and said, "Grandpa Martin, I seem to have a few curses on my body. Can you help me break them?" Grandpa Martin narrowed his eyes and said, "Breaking the curses on your body is much harder than breaking the curses on that Redford monster. However, Grandpa Martin is wise and mighty. There is no curse that I cannot break." "Really?" Lin Feng's eyes suddenly lit up. What happened next, however, left Grandpa Martin dumbfounded. Grandpa Martin looked behind Lin Feng, and his eyes nearly popped out of their sockets, as if he had seen something incomparably terrifying. Swoosh! Without another word, Grandpa Martin turned and fled into the distance. In the blink of an eye, he had disappeared without a trace. Grandpa Martin had suddenly disappeared without a trace. Lin Feng was puzzled. What had Grandpa Martin seen? Behind him? Could it be that something terrifying had appeared? When he thought of this, even though Lin Feng was skilled and daring, his expression could not help but change again. Lin Feng turned his head and looked at the man. However, when he turned his head to look behind him, it was empty. He did not see anything. Why did Grandpa Martin suddenly run away? Lin Feng frowned and could not help but mutter to himself. Grandpa Martin did not stop. He quickly flew off into the distance. After Lin Feng left, a gust of cold wind swept through the forest. The flowers and trees in the forest instantly withered, and the fierce beasts hiding in the caves turned into beast skins that drifted to the ground. Chapter 2169. That scared me to death. That scared me to death. Why isn't that guy dead yet? Grandpa Martin seemed to have seen something terrifying, as it patted its chest with lingering fear. Then it wailed, "What the hell? Does this mean that Grandpa Martin's temple is going to be ruined?" Grandpa Martin stomped its feet in frustration. It shouted, "Kid, you can't blame me for not being loyal. I can't help you, and I don't have the ability to help you." Lin Feng flew out of the forest. Although he had obtained an immortal artifact, he had no intention of leaving. That was because Lin Feng had yet to find the Soul Master Dao Sect's inheritance. Many cultivators flew over from afar, heading into the depths of the forest. It seemed that the Chaos Lord's tomb was about to be discovered. Such a huge tomb would definitely cause a huge uproar. However, it would not be easy for these people to enter the tomb and obtain the Chaos Lord's items. Even Grandpa Martin did not dare to enter the Chaos Lord's tomb. One could imagine how terrifying the tomb was. Lin Feng pondered over Grandpa Martin's identity. Who exactly was this guy? He was hiding beside the heaven-shaking stone stele. Could it be that he had always been in the forbidden area of Tianhuang? If that was the case, Grandpa Martin had been beside the heaven-shaking stone stele for many years. Had this guy comprehended the secret of the heaven-shaking stone stele? Lin Feng was shocked when he thought of this. Grandpa Martin was definitely more complicated than he had imagined. "Bastard! I'll kill you!" A furious roar rang out as the great demonic god flew over from afar. Lin Feng fled when he saw the great demonic god. He was no match for the great demonic god. Do you only know how to run? If you're a man, fight me, the great demonic god said viciously. Lin Feng said, a gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. As a handsome and elegant gentleman, I won't casually fight with others. That's not what a gentleman should do. The great demonic god's face darkened. If he couldn't win, so be it. A gentleman uses his mouth, not his fists. This was simply shameless to the extreme. Brat, you dare to trick me? You're dead. I will tear you to pieces, the great demonic god said fiercely. When did I trick you? Lin Feng curled his lips and said. The great demonic god said fiercely. You lured me to the demonic god who lost his heart. Isn't that cheating me? I almost died at the hands of that devil god. Lin Feng said. Back then I only said that I saw someone from the demon god clan. You didn't ask me if the demon god was alive or dead, or if it was a demon god with a heart, or without a heart. Now that something has happened, you're trying to blame me? Do you have any shame? The great demonic god cursed. You're the one who's shameless. I won't argue with you. See how I'll deal with you when I catch you. Lin Feng ran. The great demonic god gave chase. 2 hours later, Lin Feng had managed to shake off the great demon god, but he was unable to completely shake him off. The great demon god was still far behind Lin Feng. Being chased by the great demonic god was not a solution. At that moment, Lin Feng saw a group of women flying in his direction. Leading them were 2 old women. They were from Celestial Valley. Celestial Valley only recruited female disciples, not male disciples. In this aspect, they were very similar to the Red Dust Immortal sect. Celestial Valley had a long history, and it was one of the strongest factions in Infinite Desolation. It was a behemoth that no one dared to provoke. Lin Feng quickly flew over and cupped his fists at the group of women. What are you waiting for? A beautiful female cultivator asked. Lin Feng smiled and said, Great news, great news! I have a friend with a good family background. He has taken a liking to you fairies and wants to take you fairies as his concubines. I wonder if you fairies will agree? What did you say? The group was instantly enraged, and they glared at Lin Feng with eyes that were practically spitting fire. The women of Celestial Valley were all of noble status. How could they become someone's concubine? Moreover, a group of them would become a man's concubine. Wasn't this an insult to Celestial Valley? An old woman said coldly. Which one of the female disciples of Celestial Valley isn't a goddess of heaven? Who dares to take a female disciple of Celestial Valley as a concubine? Is this an insult to Celestial Valley? Take this brat down! Lin Feng shouted. Everyone, this is a misunderstanding. A friend of mine has taken a liking to these fairies of Celestial Valley and wants to take them as his concubines. It's not me! Birds of a feather flock together. Since you're friends with that person, you're definitely not a good person either. Another old woman said coldly. More than 10 female disciples unsheathed their swords and charged at Lin Feng. Lin Feng immediately started running. As he ran, he pointed at the great demonic god and said, Look, my friend is here. He's the one who wants to take you as his concubines. Lin Feng ran after saying that. His speed was too fast, and he managed to shake off the female disciples of Celestial Valley. At this moment, the great demonic god flew over from afar. Stop! An old woman said coldly. What? Do you have a problem? The great demonic god frowned. If an ordinary person dared to speak to him in such a tone, he would have sent them flying with a slap. However, this old woman's cultivation was unfathomable. Thus, the great demonic god did not act too presumptuously. Instead, he calmly conversed with the old woman. So you're the one who wants to take so many female disciples as your concubines? The old woman said coldly. I don't know what you're talking about. I still have matters to attend to, so forgive me for not accompanying you. Impudent! You think you can leave after insulting Celestial Valley? The old woman's expression sank. The great demonic god said, "When have I insulted Celestial Valley? Who do you think you are? You actually want to take so many female disciples as your concubines? If that's not insulting Celestial Valley, what is it?" The old woman said coldly. At this moment, the great demonic god regained his senses. Lin Feng must have said something to these people when he passed by earlier. He had screwed himself over again. The great demonic god wanted nothing more than to tear Lin Feng to shreds. He said, "It's that bastard from earlier who is spouting nonsense. Don't listen to slander. Humph, it seems you know each other. Since you know each other, is there a need for him to spout nonsense?" The old woman's expression was cold as she sent a palm strike at the great demonic god. The great demonic god nearly cried. They knew each other, but they were enemies. However, it was clear that the Celestial Valley's people would not listen to his explanation. The great demonic god and the old woman exchanged a palm strike, and the old woman sent him flying. The great demonic god was shocked. The old woman's strength was too terrifying. He turned around and fled. "Thief, where do you think you're going?" The old woman's voice was cold as she chased after him with the Celestial Valley's people. As the great demonic god fled, he roared hysterically in his heart. "Bastard, I, the great demonic god, will never forgive you." The night was bright. A bonfire was lit in the mountain forest. Lin Feng was roasting meat, which he was most proficient in. He drank wine and ate meat at the same time. It was truly enjoyable. Suddenly, a sinister aura spread from the mountain forest. The Demon Lord said, "These should be the words of the Desolation era. They are from the same era as the Desolation Lord. However, I don't know what these words record." Lin Feng rubbed his chin and said, "A group of palaces from the same era as the Desolation Lord? Could this group of palaces have something to do with the Desolation Lord?" The Demon Lord nodded and said, "That is indeed a possibility." Rumble. Suddenly, intense fluctuations came from the depths, alarming everyone. Everyone looked towards the depths. Following that, a silver river appeared in the sky. The silver river sprinkled down endless radiance. It illuminated the world. "This is..." Everyone was visibly moved. "You have overstepped your boundaries." A cold voice came from the silver river sprinkling down. Within the silver river, images appeared one after another. All sorts of images flickered without stop. Finally, the images froze. It was a mysterious and ancient world. A stalwart man was surrounded by a group of people. The stalwart man said with an indifferent expression, "What do you mean by overstepping my boundaries? Not just anyone can come to this world. Since you are here, you should behave yourself. Don't bring those irrelevant people here." An expert said coldly, his killing intent soaring to the heavens. Chapter 2171. The stalwart man said, "The Undying Realm was once a barren land, no different from the other realms. It was only later that life and races gradually evolved, and cultivators from other realms arrived one after another, forming the current Undying Realm. The 3,000 great realms are equal great realms, and the Undying Realm is also the Undying Realm of all the cultivators in the universe. What's the difference between crossing realms and not crossing realms? Ha 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 ha, what a joke. The Undying Realm is our Undying Realm, not the Undying Realm of all the cultivators in the universe. We control the Undying Realm, so we can decide who can and can't enter the Undying Realm. It's one thing for you to come alone, but you actually brought your disciples with you. You're simply courting death." An expert said coldly. "Don't waste words with him, kill him." Another expert said. Boom! A great battle broke out, and a group of experts began to besiege the stalwart man. This battle was simply earth-shattering, and the sun and moon lost their light. Who is that man? Could he be the Chaos Lord? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. He thought of a possibility. The Chaos Lord. An existence so terrifying that it made people tremble. The #1 expert of the Chaos era. How the Chaos Lord had died was a mystery. If the person in front of him was the Chaos Lord, if he had fallen in the hands of the experts in the Undying Realm, in that case, the cause of the Chaos Lord's death was clear as day. At this time, the Demon Lord said, "Those people in the Undying Realm are some of the 72 domain lords of the Undying Realm." Lin Feng was shocked. Lin Feng had naturally heard of the 72 domain lords. The Undying Realm was divided into 72 domains. Each domain had a domain lord. Back then, the Demon Lord was one of the 72 domain lords of the Undying Realm. At that time, the Demon Lord was in the Emperor Realm. From this, one could see how powerful these domain lords were. With so many domain lords besieging that stalwart cultivator, one could see how much pressure he was under. This battle lasted for 10 days and 10 nights. That stalwart cultivator was simply too powerful. He actually killed 9 domain lords of the Undying Realm in succession. The other domain lords fled in disorder. From then on, the name of the Great Desolate Master spread throughout the Undying Realm. The Great Desolation Master also built a group of palaces in the Undying Realm and arranged for his disciples to stay there. The other domain lords were naturally unwilling to let the Chaos Master establish himself in the Undying Realm. Because they were afraid. They were afraid that the Chaos Master would threaten the rule of the 72 domain masters. Therefore, these people joined forces and prayed to the heavens to communicate with the heavens. The ancient and mysterious Heaven Realm. It was a world that belonged to a higher plane. It was a plane that surpassed the 3,000 great worlds. The cultivators in the mortal world simply could not imagine how strong the experts in the Heaven Realm were. The Chaos Lord was known as the #1 expert of the Chaos Era. But in fact, this list did not include the Heavenly Realm, the Underworld, the chaotic bound of universe, and the Otherworld. The Chaos Lord was the strongest expert in the mortal world. He was also the undisputed #1 expert. The Chaos Master had killed the 9 domain lords of the Undying Realm by himself. From this, one could tell just how powerful the Chaos Lord was. However, the cultivators of the Heaven Realm were synonymous with powerful, terrifying, and unfathomable. The emissary of the Heaven Realm descended. Many people thought that the Chaos Lord was about to fall, because that was the top expert of the Heaven Realm. However, when this great battle broke out, everyone was dumbfounded. The emissary of the Heaven Realm was actually killed by the Chaos Lord. This could simply be described as inconceivable and unimaginable. It was only at this time that everyone realized how terrifying the Chaos Lord was. The Chaos Lord definitely had the strength to contend with the big shots of the Heaven Realm. The Heaven Realm emissary died, and the Heavenly Court was furious. Therefore, the Heavenly Court sent an even stronger emissary to kill the Chaos Lord, but the final result was that the Heaven Realm emissary was still killed by the Chaos Lord. In the end, the Heaven Realm had no choice but to send an army to attack the Chaos Lord. But in the end, the Chaos Lord still won. The Heaven Realm's army was full of experts. But under the attack of the Chaos Lord, they were utterly defeated. The strength of the Chaos Lord deeply shocked everyone's heart, causing their hearts to tremble in disbelief. Just when everyone thought that the Chaos Master was invincible in the world, a cloud of black fog descended upon the Undying Realm. He. When that cloud of black fog descended, a sinister laughter could be heard from within the black fog. The laughter of the living being within the black fog echoed throughout the entire Undying Realm. This. When he saw the black fog appear, Lin Feng had already become somewhat incoherent. Black fog. Black fog again. By now, he already knew what the living being within the black fog was. They were the lucky survivors of the previous era. They had crossed eras without dying. It was as though they had completed their transformation. They had obtained unimaginable strength. These terrifying living beings controlled everything in the world. They would erase everything. Existences that made them feel somewhat unable to control. Just like the Chaos Lord. The Chaos Lord was too powerful. He was so powerful that he shocked the experts of the 3 realms and 6 paths. And so, the living being within the black fog wanted to erase the Chaos Lord, an existence that they could not control. When the black fog enveloped over, this great battle ended with the Chaos Lord's blood. The Chaos Lord's corpse fell from the undying realm, along with the palace he had built and his disciples. All of them died. Together they fell from the undying realm. Keek keek! A gloomy voice resounded throughout the world. The icy cold eyes of the living being within the black fog stared at the corpse of the Chaos Lord that had fallen into the boundless starry sky. Just as the creature in the black fog was about to leave, suddenly, a deep, ancient, and vicissitude voice resounded throughout the world. Forge my battle sword! Exterminate all the foreign souls! Ignite my battle blood and slaughter the immortal bodies! As the voice faded away, suddenly, a stone sword traveled back from the past and slashed at the creature in the black fog. Stone sword! After seeing the stone sword, Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. That stone sword. It was exactly the same as the stone sword placed in the third level of the Chonlu demonic palace. It was said that there were a total of 36 such stone swords. No one knew the origin of the 36 stone swords. These 36 stone swords were buried in the past, present, and future respectively. Now, this sword came from the world of the past, and it slashed toward the living beings in the black fog. How could that be? That's impossible. Wasn't the stone sword destroyed in the past? The living beings in the black fog cried out in horror. The black fog fled into the distance. The stone sword was too fast. It chased after it like a bolt of lightning. Pooh! A tearing sound was heard. The living beings in the black fog were killed by the stone sword. As for the stone sword, it traveled through the river of time and returned to the world of the past. Chapter 2172. The creature in the black fog was so powerful, but it was still killed by the stone sword. The existence of the stone sword seemed to be for the sole purpose of killing the creature in the black fog. The Chaos Lord's corpse and the dilapidated palace landed in the forbidden area of Heaven Wasteland of the 9 prefectures. This forbidden area of Heaven Wasteland. It was not formed when the Chaos Lord died. It was formed a long time ago. The Heaven Wasteland Holy Land had already been formed. Whoosh! A mysterious figure appeared in the forbidden area of Heaven Wasteland, surrounded by divine light. This person was too terrifying. He traveled through the forbidden area of Heaven Wasteland. It was such a dangerous place. He could travel through it with ease. Not long after, another existence arrived. His appearance was still unclear. He was shrouded in a brown fog. He also traveled through the forbidden area of Heaven Wasteland freely. He was also a powerful figure. Soon after, the third supreme expert arrived. This was a little girl with pigtails, and she was bouncing about. However, this was a forbidden area of Heaven Wasteland, a terrifying place of death. Therefore, no one would really think that she was an ordinary little girl. The 3 people arrived in front of the Chaos Lord's corpse. The little girl said, "What a pity, what a pity! He was too impatient and died." The cultivator shrouded in divine light said, "Yes, it's sad that he died just like that. He should be like us, hiding in the forbidden area and waiting for the right time to come. At the same time, he should be accumulating his strength. Open the 6 paths of reincarnation," the little girl said. "Are you crazy? We'll be sensed. When that happens, we'll be in trouble too," the cultivator shrouded in brown fog said. "Hee, I've brought something that can deceive the heavens," the little girl said with a smile. She stretched out her chubby palm. A stone tablet the size of a grain of rice appeared in her palm. The stone tablet began to grow bigger, bigger, and bigger. Not long after, the heaven-shaking stone tablet became more than 100 meters tall. "The heaven-shaking stone tablet? You even got your hands on this treasure?" the cultivator shrouded in divine light said in shock. The little girl said with a smile, "I went to the underworld and stole the heaven-shaking stone tablet that suppressed the yellow springs of the underworld." Damn! The other 2 experts immediately felt a headache. This little ancestor in front of them made them want to cry. She dared to steal the treasure that suppressed the yellow springs of the underworld? Wouldn't those people in the underworld go crazy? The little girl said with a smile. Now I can open the 6 paths of reincarnation. The other 2 experts nodded. 6 paths of reincarnation, the 3 experts shouted. They worked together to form 6 black holes. The 6 black holes twisted together and emitted a sinister aura. The 6 black heaven wasteland. The 3 experts then placed the Chaos Lord's body. They opened the 6 paths of reincarnation. He had buried the Chaos Lord. I say, little ancestor, you mustn't run around. If you expose us, we'll all die. The expert in the brown fog said. Said the little girl. If anything happens, we will wake you up. The expert in the brown fog said. Sky Marshal Continent's Godfall Cliff. Isn't that the place where I found Li Mingxi? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He still remembered Li Mingxi's sudden disappearance. Of course, there was a letter left on the table. In the letter, he thanked Lin Feng. It said that Li Mingxi's family had found Li Mingxi. Then, they took her away. Because it was urgent. They left in a hurry. They left without waiting for Lin Feng to return. Lin Feng retracted his thoughts. Now was not the time to think about this. What he needed to do now was to find the inheritance here. This was the place where the Chaos Lord's orthodoxy was passed down. Yao Jun continued. Rumor has it that the Chaos Master didn't take all of his disciples with him. In fact, there were some disciples who didn't manage to return in time. Because of that, they were able to avoid the calamity. Later on, those disciples joined forces and formed a new sect. This sect is called the Soul Master Dao Sect. Oh? So this is the origin of the Dao Sect of Soul Masters? Lin Feng was quite surprised. This was something he hadn't expected. However, Lin Feng immediately became happy. The Dao Sect of Soul Masters was passed down from the Chaos Lord. Didn't that mean they had obtained the Chaos Lord's inheritance? That was equivalent to obtaining the Dao Sect of Soul Masters' inheritance? At that time, they would be able to break Yuer's soul-planting technique? Rumble! At this time, a huge palace in the depths suddenly shook. The earth trembled violently. How many years has it been since someone came here? I can feel the aura of life. Suddenly, a series of low and deep voices came from the palace. What the hell is that? Everyone stared in shock at the trembling palace in the depths of the palace. Crack, crack. Suddenly, the palace began to undergo a strange transformation. Hands, legs, a body, and a head appeared in the palace. The palace is a magic treasure, and it has transformed into a weapon cultivator. A cultivator shouted. Weapon cultivators were very rare in the world of cultivators. This was because weapon cultivators were all transformed from magic treasures. And it was too difficult for a magic treasure to transform into a weapon cultivator. Any weapon cultivator who could successfully transform was usually very terrifying. Just like the weapon cultivator in front of him, who knew how powerful he was in the past. However, after a long time, there was also a problem with the body of the weapon cultivator in front of him. Time was enough to destroy everything. Of course, even though his strength was far from what it used to be, this weapon cultivator was still very powerful. The weapon cultivator's roar shook the sky. He quickly rushed into the crowd. Immediately after, he killed in all directions. Bang, bang, bang. His attacks were very simple. He just punched out one after another. Or he kicked out one after another. However, each attack was able to kill many cultivators. However, there were too many cultivators, and they quickly gained the upper hand. Holes were blasted out one after another on the weapon cultivator's body. I'm going to kill you all and drink your blood! Devour your souls! The weapon cultivator roared. Swish! Streaks of divine light shot out from his body. Those rays of divine light turned into all kinds of powerful magic treasures that danced in the air. Ha ha! Kill you all! Kill you all! I want to drink blood! I want to drink blood! The densely packed weapons were actually speaking human language. One by one, the weapons emitted a monstrous aura. What a powerful monstrous aura! Those weapons are all legendary demon weapons. Many people roared in shock. Immediately after, everyone looked at the demon soldiers with burning gazes. Chapter 2173. Demon soldiers were a very special kind of weapon. In simple terms, they could be considered a type of weapon cultivator. Weapon cultivators were still magic treasures in essence. Therefore, cultivators could refine them. The biggest characteristic of weapon cultivators was that they could cultivate on their own and continuously increase their cultivation. Demon soldiers were the highest level of weapon cultivators. Demon soldiers had the ability to evolve on their own and could continuously increase their cultivation, becoming stronger and more terrifying. Furthermore, demon soldiers were extremely rare magic treasures. It was very rare to see such a treasure. In the long years, one might not even see a few demon soldiers. As for this place, it was unknown how many demon soldiers there were. These demon soldiers and cultivators were fighting. The cultivators wanted to capture these demon soldiers, and these demon soldiers wanted to kill the cultivators and drink their blood. The battle between the two sides was very intense. From time to time, people would die in the battle. There were also demon soldiers that were subdued by some very powerful cultivators. "Demon soldiers have appeared, kill them!" A loud shout came from afar. More and more cultivators rushed over. After seeing these demon soldiers, the others could no longer stay calm. In the distance, a fan showed its power. It waved lightly. Flames soared to the sky. Ah! Screams came one after another. Many cultivators who were enveloped by the flames were burned and screamed again and again. Soon, they were burned to ashes. The 5 Flames 7 Birds fan is actually this treasure. The demon lord's voice came. "What kind of treasure is that?" Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat and couldn't help but ask. To be able to attract the demon lord's attention. It was definitely an extraordinary treasure. Demon Lord said. "The 5 Flames 7 Fall fan fuses 5 types of flames: the void fire, the metal stone fire, the mystic wood fire, the true samadhi fire, and the mortal fire. This treasure fan has the wings of a phoenix, the wings of a green swan, the wings of a crane, the wings of a peacock, the wings of a white crane, the wings of a swan, the wings of an owl, and the feathers of 7 fowl. On the back, there are poems. Release flames. Endless power!" As soon as the demon lord's voice fell, the 5 Flames 7 Birds fan showed its power again. The fan suddenly flapped. The dozens of cultivators who surrounded it were all burned to death. "Keek keek! Go to hell, all of you!" The fan of flames and birds was roaring. It does not consume human blood essence. Instead, they devoured the remnant souls of dead cultivators to nourish themselves. The 5 Flames 7 Fowl fan was truly powerful. It had killed over 100 cultivators in a row. The other cultivators quickly stepped aside. He didn't dare to appear beside the Flames of 5 Birds fan. "Die, brat!" The fan of flames and birds locked onto Lin Feng and roared loudly. "Your soul is truly powerful. Killing you will bring me more benefits than killing 100 cultivators." Swish! He suddenly waved the fan of flames and birds. The void flame, the metallic stone flame, the mystical wood flame, the samadhi true flame, and the mundane flame immediately flew out. It shrouded Lin Feng. These 5 types of flames were very strange. They were difficult to extinguish, and their power was abnormally strong. Once an ordinary cultivator was entangled, they would die unless they had a way to restrain it. This was also the reason why so many powerful cultivators died after being shrouded by the flames of the fan of flames and birds. However, Lin Feng happened to not be afraid of fire attacks. Lin Feng had 4 heavenly flames. Among the many flames, the heavenly flames were of the highest level. Therefore, the heavenly flames could restrain all kinds of flames. Of course, there were also some mutated flames in this world. They were not weaker than the heavenly flames. The 5 types of flames needed to refine the fan of flames and birds. They were all mutated flames. Not many people had heard of the void flame, the metallic stone flame, the mystical wood flame, and the mundane flame. However, the Samadhi true flame. Many people must have heard of it. One of the three pure ones, the Supreme Lord of Tao De, Supreme Lord of Laozi, had this mutated heavenly flame. It was said that there was a powerful demon in the heavenly realm called the Boy Sage King. He also had the Samadhi true flame. This was also the reason why the fan of flames and birds was so powerful. The 5 types of mutated flames were too powerful. However, even though they were mutated flames, it was difficult to hurt Lin Feng, who had mastered the heavenly flames. Lin Feng's 4 heavenly flames and the mutated flames fanned by the fan of flames and birds collided in the void. The heavenly flames and the mutated flames suppressed each other. It was hard to determine the winner. Brat. You have mastered the heavenly flames. Then I must kill you and devour your heavenly flames. If I can devour your heavenly flames, I will complete the most perfect transformation. The fan of flames and birds shouted. Swish, immediately after. The fan of flames and birds shot out 7 beams of divine light. Among the 7 beams of divine light, they revealed the phoenix, the blue swan, the big crane, the peacock, the white crane, the swan, and the owl. The 7 beasts let out loud and clear cries. Then they pounced towards Lin Feng. A terrifying aura filled the air between heaven and earth. The 7 beasts were extremely ferocious. Each of the ferocious beasts displayed an extinct art. They charged towards Lin Feng. They wanted to kill Lin Feng directly. What a fan of flames and birds! Not only can it produce 5 mutated flames, but it can also reveal 7 beasts to fight against the enemy. Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim. However, he didn't panic at all. Facing the attack of the 7 beasts, Lin Feng was very calm and composed. He waved his hand and a tornado swept across heaven and earth. This was a tornado. It was formed by the power of calamity. This supernatural power was the one ranked 9th, the 3000 Great Tao Calamity Technique. The calamity tornado formed by the Great Tao Calamity Technique directly enveloped the 7 beasts. It made it difficult for them to escape. Immediately after, Lin Feng stepped forward. A low voice sounded. In this world, only I am immortal. The world should believe in me like an immortal and respect me as a ghost god. I will purify you. From now on, you will believe in me and respect me. As the voice faded, Lin Feng had already arrived beside the fan of flames and birds. He stretched out his right hand and gently tapped the fan of flames and birds. Swish! A powerful purifying power surged into the fan of flames and birds. Lin Feng wanted to forcibly purify the fan of flames and birds. You want to purify me? Dream on. The fan of flames and birds roared angrily and constantly struggled. It swept out beams of divine light toward Lin Feng. It wanted to send Lin Feng flying. But every time, it failed. In the end, the fan of flames and birds couldn't resist Lin Feng's purification. It was successfully purified by Lin Feng. Master! The fan of flames and birds withdrew all of its attacks and then respectfully greeted Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded and said, Fan of flames and birds, let me ask you. Is the inheritance of the Chaos Master in this group of palaces? The fan of flames and birds said, Most of the inheritances are indeed here, but the most powerful techniques of the Chaos Master are all in the main tomb. Take me to the inheritances here. Lin Feng said. Master, come with me. The fan of flames and birds said and then flew into the distance. Lin Feng followed the fan of flames and birds. Chapter 2174. The palaces were extremely large, covering an area of 10 kilometers. There were quite a few huge palaces. Lin Feng had thought that the legacy of the Chaos Lord would be in some of the main palaces. However, he was wrong this time. The 5-flame 7-foul fan brought Lin Feng to a dilapidated statue. The statue was broken in half. He could not see anything special about it. Master, this is the entrance, the 5-flame 7-foul fan said. Lin Feng nodded. There were cultivators passing by, But Lin Feng was not afraid. He was bold and powerful. Who would dare to snatch the legacy of the Chaos Lord after he obtained it? When the time came, he would kill them with a slap. The 5 Flame 7 Foul Fan chanted an incantation. It was unknown what the incantation was about. Shwa! The broken statue emitted a beam of divine light that enveloped Lin Feng and the 5 Flame 7 Foul Fan. Then, the two of them disappeared without a trace. There was a flash of light. Lin Feng realized that he was in a dark and gloomy passage. Who built this passageway? Lin Feng asked in surprise. The 5 Flame 7 Foul Fan said, This is an underground chamber built by a few elders of the Chaos Immortal sect. When the Chaos Lord was attacked, the Chaos Immortal sect suffered as well. Then, the Chaos Immortal Island where the Chaos Immortal sect was located fell from the Undying Realm. However, there were still some survivors of the Chaos Immortal sect. Unfortunately, they were hunted down in the Starry Sky world and all of them perished. Lin Feng had not seen what the 5 Flame 7 Foul Fan said in the previous images. It seemed that the images were not complete. Lin Feng guessed. Those images probably only showed a portion of the content. The 5 Flame 7 Foul Fan flew in front, while Lin Feng followed behind. They went deeper into the passageway. Finally, they arrived at the depths. Lin Feng saw that there were many corpses piled up here. Judging by the size of the skeletons, the people who died here should be children. These are the juniors of the Desolate Immortal sect. They are all young and have outstanding talent. They were hidden in this place, but they were unable to avoid that calamity, said the Fan of Flames and Birds. Lin Feng said, It seems that aside from you demon soldiers, everyone else is dead. What is the origin of you demon soldiers? The Fan of 5 Flames and 7 Birds said, We came from a mysterious place where the Chaos Master came from. A mysterious place? Where is this place? Lin Feng asked in surprise. His interest was piqued. The Fan of Flames and Birds said, My memory of this is very vague. When I was first brought out, my intelligence was still incomplete. Lin Feng nodded and did not continue asking. The 5 Flame 7 Foul Fan had been purified by him, so it was impossible for it to lie to him. Therefore, even if he continued to ask, he wouldn't get any results. Soon, Lin Feng and the 5 Flame 7 Birds Fan arrived at the Land of Inheritance. Lin Feng immediately saw a tome surrounded by divine light. It was actually made of bronze. This bronze tome is called the Desolate Tome. Many of the Chaos Master's legacies are recorded in it. However, some of the Chaos Master's most powerful divine abilities should be in the main tomb. The Fan of 5 Flame 7 Birds said. Lin Feng said, The main tomb is extremely dangerous. I have no faith with those legacies. When Lin Feng returned from the main tomb, he saw many cultivators heading there. They were probably some of the most powerful experts. They were all heading there. The attraction of the palaces was definitely not as great as the Chaos Master's tomb. However, he wasn't sure if those people could open the Chaos Master's tomb. If they could open it, they wouldn't be able to obtain the items inside. Since Grandpa Martin was so secretive about the Chaos Master's tomb, Lin Feng felt that the tomb was a pit. Whoever jumped in would fall to their death. Even if they were lucky enough to crawl out alive, they would probably lose a layer of skin. Lin Feng opened the Desolate Tome. Then, he began to flip through the contents. There were many divine abilities and secret techniques recorded in the Desolate Tome. There was also the Chi Wang technique and so on. Unfortunately, there were no immortal techniques, no emperor techniques, and no 3,000 Great Tao. Immortal techniques, emperor techniques, and the 3,000 Great Tao were all the most important inheritances. It was very likely that such an inheritance was in the main tomb. Of course, even if there were no immortal techniques, emperor techniques, or the 3,000 Great Tao, Lin Feng still had an indifferent expression. He had already obtained too many benefits from coming to the forbidden grounds of Heaven Wasteland this time. His soul force had greatly increased, and he had even obtained the immortal artifact 5 Dragon Wheel and the demon weapon 5 Flames 7 Birds Fan. If the Desolate Tome recorded the soul planting technique, then it would be able to help you resolve the soul planting technique. This trip could be described as perfect. Found it! Suddenly, Lin Feng's eyes lit up. He found the cultivation method and method to resolve the soul planting technique in the desolate tome. He quickly put away the desolate tome. Then, Lin Feng continued to observe this place, wanting to see if there were any other treasures. After carefully searching for a while, he found nothing. Lin Feng kept the 5 fires 7 birds fan into the mountain river ring, and then quickly rushed outside. Swish! With a flash of light, Lin Feng returned to the outside from the passage. Just as he came out, a sharp cold light slashed towards him. The void was instantly torn apart. Lin Feng's reaction was fast enough. His fist was surrounded by the power of dragons and elephants. He threw a punch out. Clang! Lin Feng's punch landed on the cold light. Tap, 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 tap. In a hurry, Lin Feng was forced to retreat a few steps. Kid, you have some ability. Hand over what you got, or I'll take your dog life. Not far away, a fierce-looking cultivator sneered. This cultivator held a blood-colored saber in his hand. It was this person who launched a sneak attack on Lin Feng just now. After seeing this cultivator, Lin Feng's face revealed a cold expression. You don't know what's good for you. Lin Feng rushed forward and fought with this cultivator. This person's cultivation was not ordinary. He fought with Lin Feng for dozens of rounds. Lin Feng found an opportunity to injure him. Go to hell! Lin Feng's voice was cold as he threw a punch at this fierce-looking cultivator. Do you know who I am? If you dare to kill me, I'll... The fierce-looking cultivator roared loudly with a ferocious expression, wanting to threaten Lin Feng. However, before he could finish his words, Lin Feng had already killed him with a punch. After killing this person, Lin Feng flew into the distance, but at this moment, he felt several terrifying killing intent enveloping his body. Lin Feng, your death is here. Wu Qianquan stepped forward with a cold gaze. Did you expect to die here today? Fairy Miao Qing looked coldly at Lin Feng. I'm going to cut off your head. A white-haired youth walked over. It was Bai Shaxing. Kid, I'll send you to the Yellow Springs. Young Master Huang Quan walked over. I think you should just go to the 18th level of hell. Evil Young Master walked over from another direction, his voice cold. No matter how powerful an expert was, their memories would be erased by the Yellow Springs. No matter how powerful a divine ability was, it would be forgotten and unable to be used. Martial breaking Qianquan fist! Wu Qianquan made his move and performed the supreme fist technique. Fist shattering heaven and earth. This invincible punch was filled with a terrifying killing intent that could destroy everything. It swept forward, shattering the heavens and the universe. A fist enveloped Lin Feng and blasted towards him. 9 Hell Soul Refining Technique! Evil Prince made his move. He performed a powerful demonic technique. This demonic technique could destroy a cultivator's soul. It was very domineering. Heaven breaking, earth breaking, life breaking! Bai Shuxing slashed out 3 times in a row. These 3 slashes contained 3 powerful forces. Bai Shuxing cultivated the Tao of killing. His swordsmanship also contained a supreme killing intent. Therefore, Bai Shuxing's attack was a sword technique that was specially created for killing. The attacks of the 5 experts were terrifying, and they all attacked Lin Feng. Not to mention the cultivators of the younger generation, even the experts of the older generation would probably die if they were besieged by these 5 people. Look, isn't that Wu Qianquan, Fairy Miao Qing, Bai Shuxing, Evil Prince, and Evil Prince? They're all the top experts of the younger generation, and they're all attacking one person. Who's that person? I don't know him, but he looks very young. Does such a young cultivator need all 5 experts to work together to kill him? Many people around saw this scene and couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. Wu Qianquan, Fairy Miao Qing, Bai Shuxing, Evil Prince, and Evil Prince were all top experts. Although they were very young, their cultivation had already caught up to the cultivators of the older generation. That was why the onlookers were shocked. There was actually someone who could attract the attention of 5 experts. From the onlooker's point of view, Lin Feng would definitely not be able to escape from being attacked by 5 experts. No one could survive the joint attack of the 5 experts. Humph! Lin Feng snorted coldly in the face of the 5 experts' attacks. His expression was extremely cold and filled with cold killing intent. Lin Feng took a step forward. Epic dominance was unleashed. When Lin Feng's epic dominance was unleashed, all the attacks were instantly shattered by epic dominance. Epic dominance was a combination of attack, defense, restriction, suppression, and intimidation. It was extremely domineering. Epic dominance was still transparent, which was the most basic form of epic dominance. Therefore, it could only shatter their attacks. If Lin Feng had unleashed his own epic dominance, these people would have been injured by Lin Feng's epic dominance. Of course. Chapter 2176 F***CK. Which bastard dares to sneak attack me? Lin Feng got up from the ground and cursed loudly. Fortunately, he was strong enough. Otherwise, he would have lost his life. At this moment, Wu Qianquan and the others heaved a sigh of relief. However, the expressions of these people became extremely unsightly. Who were they? Each of them was a giant among men. They were famous in the 9 states. But now, they were beaten to the point of vomiting blood by Lin Feng. Moreover, they were beaten to the point of vomiting blood by Lin Feng in front of everyone when the 5 of them attacked Lin Feng together. After this matter spread out, the 5 of them could already imagine what kind of ridicule they would face and how others would look at them. This feeling of humiliation made the 5 of them feel like they were going crazy. They were all looking at Lin Feng with killing intent in their eyes. But these people also knew that they were no match for Lin Feng, even though they didn't want to admit it. But it was a fact that couldn't be changed. At this moment, an expert flew over from afar. It was an old man who had the demeanor of a transcendent being. He looked at Lin Feng with a cold smile. Little bastard, your mouth is full of filthy words. I will cut off your tongue later. Overlord Sword Murong Ju! Many people exclaimed when they saw the sage-like old man. This old man's identity wasn't simple. He was a supreme elder of the Supreme Immortal Sect. In the Supreme Immortal Sect, he was second only to the 5 giants of the Supreme Immortal Sect. Now, he was going to kill Lin Feng personally. With this person's means, there was a high chance that he could kill Lin Feng. Moreover, this Murong Ju was very cautious. He didn't get close to Lin Feng. Instead, he deliberately distanced himself from Lin Feng. This person was obviously worried that Lin Feng had some powerful means. So, he distanced himself and used his magic power to activate all kinds of ultimate techniques to suppress Lin Feng from afar. Lin Feng couldn't resist his attacks. The older, the wiser. The 2 of them were over 1,000 meters apart. Even when Lin Feng used his Supreme Being aura, he was unable to cause any damage to Murong Ju. Therefore, Lin Feng didn't even think about it. He turned around and flew into the distance. Thief! Where are you going? Murong Ju's voice was cold. He raised his hand and a sword radiance slashed towards Lin Feng. Murong Ju's battle prowess was truly terrifying. A beam of sword light split the world. The void was split open. The sword slashed the heavens and the earth. Who could contend against it? The 1,000 zhang long sword beam slashed down once more, giving Lin Feng a great deal of pressure. This kind of antique that had cultivated for hundreds of thousands of years, or even millions of years, was truly terrifying. It was not something that ordinary giant divinity stage cultivators could compare with. Lin Feng shuttled through the void and narrowly dodged Murong Ju's terrifying sword. Go, go, go! Lin Feng shouted in a low voice and quickly flew into the distance. You can't escape! Murong Ju sneered as he charged towards Lin Feng. His eyes were cold. In his eyes, even if Lin Feng grew 3 heads and 6 arms, he would still die today. Lin Feng naturally wasn't willing to die in Murong Ju's hands like this. He increased his speed to the extreme and quickly flew out. Murong Ju's speed didn't have an advantage. He was being shaken off by Lin Feng bit by bit. Seeing this scene, Lin Feng suddenly laughed out loud. Old dog Murong! Is this the speed of a turtle? I think you should stop calling yourself Murong Ju. Just call yourself Murong Turtle! Lin Feng sneered loudly. Murong Ju said coldly, Thief, don't be too complacent. I have a way to deal with you. Swoosh! Murong Ju waved his right hand. A treasure flew out. It was a flying carpet-type treasure. It was called the Heaven Feather Flying Carpet. Murong Ju stood on it. Swoosh! Suddenly, the flying carpet turned into a bird and let out a sharp ear-piercing cry. The bird looked like an eagle, but it wasn't an eagle. It looked like a bird, but it wasn't a bird. It looked like a swan, but it wasn't a swan. No one knew what species it was. But its speed was surprisingly fast. Like a flash of lightning, it chased after Lin Feng. And the bird's speed was obviously faster than Lin Feng's speed. The distance between the two sides gradually shortened. Damn, this works too? Lin Feng suddenly felt depressed. Murong Ju said proudly, This flying carpet of mine is a flying magical treasure passed down from the immortal ancient era. It's extremely fast. Normally, I don't even want to use it, but today, in order to catch you, little thief, I don't hesitate to use it. Little thief, if you stop and surrender now, I can give you a quick death. If you don't know how to appreciate my kindness, when I catch you, I'll peel your skin and pull out your tendons before killing you with 1,000 cuts. You old tortoise? You're still far from it. Lin Feng curled his lips and retorted. You don't know what's good for you. Murong Ju's expression suddenly darkened and his killing intent soared. Then, he used all his strength to control the flying carpet that had turned into a bird and chased after Lin Feng. 2 hours later, Murong Ju was less than 1,000 meters away from Lin Feng. Murong Ju's face was filled with a cold smile. Whoosh! 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 Streaks of sword chi flew out and slashed towards Lin Feng. Lin Feng quickly took out the death god armor to protect his body. At the same time, he quickly dodged the sword chi that came from behind. But there were too many sword chi. It was impossible to dodge all of them. Therefore, Lin Feng was still hit by the sword chi. His body was directly blasted away. After the death god armor blocked 36 streaks of sword chi in a row, it could no longer resist the attacks of the sword chi. It automatically retracted back into Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng's body was penetrated by a sword chi. He fell straight down from the sky. The most terrifying thing was that the sword chi actually turned into a small sword chi and drilled into Lin Feng's body. It began to tear Lin Feng's body apart, and caused great damage to Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng quickly used the great suppression skill to suppress the sword chi that was wreaking havoc in his body. But at this time, Murong Ju had already landed. He walked towards Lin Feng step by step. Dense sword chi slashed towards Lin Feng. Not good. Lin Feng's expression changed drastically. He quickly condensed a defense crystal wall to block Murong Ju's attack. Pfft. The defense crystal wall was instantly destroyed and Lin Feng was sent flying. Barf! Lin Feng spat out a mouthful of blood. He fell to the ground and his body was weak. Kid, do you want to know how it feels to be executed by 1,000 cuts? Murong Ju's lips curved into a cold, murderous smile. He walked towards Lin Feng step by step. Sword chi circled around his hand. The sword chi was about to fly out at any time. Murong Ju wanted to execute Lin Feng and let Lin Feng taste the pain before he died. Just then, a gust of cold wind swept across the area. He's here! Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. Murong Ju seemed to have sensed something and looked behind him. Someone as strong as him. He didn't even have the strength to resist and turned into a human skin. Immediately after, that gloomy and cold strength moved towards Lin Feng. Chapter 2177. The curse of human skin appeared once again. Lin Feng did not even know what had activated the curse. Although Murong Ju had died, The situation he was facing now was extremely bad. Lin Feng even felt a deep sense of despair. Although Murong Ju seemed to be in control of everything, in reality, Lin Feng still had some tricks up his sleeves that he had not used yet. When he used those tricks, he might be able to kill Murong Ju. However, against the curse of human skin, Lin Feng had no other way. After the cold aura enveloped his entire body, Lin Feng felt that he could no longer move. His life was quickly draining away. He felt a thick aura of death enveloping his entire body. It was a terrible feeling. Lin Feng hated this feeling of death. Swoosh! Suddenly, a figure rushed over and grabbed Lin Feng. Then, it quickly rushed into the distance. Du Zhu! Lin Feng was shocked. He did not expect Du Zhu to appear. Ha ha! Young master, I came just in time, right? Du Zhu screamed. Lin Feng almost burst into tears. Du Zhu came just in time. Just a little later, he was about to die. Du Zhu carried Lin Feng and fled into the distance. The gloomy and cold aura came from behind. The terrifying existence hidden in the void seemed to be angry. The cold aura was very fast. It was quickly chasing after them. Oh my God! Du Zhu screamed in fear. The cold aura behind them was getting closer and closer. Boom! The void split open. The evil Dominator Saint appeared. He was holding a jade bottle in his hand. Then, he threw the jade bottle out. Bang! The jade bottle exploded. Then, a dense black liquid flowed out of the jade bottle. A terrifying creature that had been hiding in the dark revealed itself after coming into contact with the jet black liquid. The terrifying creature let out a sharp, ear-piercing roar. Then, it disappeared without a trace. It's gone! Lin Feng let out a long breath. The terrifying being hidden in the dark had appeared. Although he could not tell what it was, but Lin Feng already had a general idea of what the cursed skin was. Those who were cursed did not die silently. Instead, there was a terrifying creature following them. It would appear at a certain time. Then, it would devour the cursed person. Master, are you all right? The evil Dominator Saint flew over and asked. Lin Feng said. I'm fine. It's just a small injury. Then, Lin Feng let Du Zhu put him down. He sat cross-legged. 2 hours later, he opened his eyes, looked at the evil Dominator Saint, and asked, what was that black liquid that spilled out of the jade bottle? Evil Dominator Saint said, this is a bottle of weak water we obtained by chance. Ruashui? The undying world sea of Ruashui? Lin Feng said in astonishment. He immediately thought of the primordial god Ruashui. Ruashui was one of the primordial gods. She was originally the master of the endless Ruoshui. Chapter 2178. Lin Feng prepared hundreds of spirit medicines to concoct a kind of spirit liquid called soul-washing liquid. This soul-washing liquid was very special. It was a spirit liquid specially concocted for cultivators who had been subjected to the soul-planting technique. The energy of the soul-washing liquid could be absorbed by the soul, and this energy could make the soul fall into a deep sleep. After Yu's soul absorbed the medicinal power of the soul-washing liquid, the soul seed in Yu's soul would definitely absorb it as well. Because the soul seed had been continuously absorbing Yu's soul power, it was equivalent to parasitizing Yu's soul. Yu's soul and soul seed would fall into a deep sleep under the effect of the soul-washing liquid. At this time, it was time for Lin Feng to destroy the soul seed. After the soul-washing liquid was concocted, Lin Feng poured the soul-washing liquid into the bathtub, and then he let Yu soak in it. Yu's pretty face was pink. She entered the bathtub wearing only her underwear. Soon Yu fell into a deep sleep. This was because under the effect of the soul-washing liquid, Yu's soul fell into a deep sleep. However, Lin Feng did not make a move at this time, because although Yu's soul fell into a deep sleep, it was still far from enough. Most of the soul-washing liquid was absorbed by Yu's soul, and only a small part of it was absorbed by the soul seed. So now Lin Feng was still waiting for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. And this opportunity was that the energy of the soul-washing liquid in the bathtub was completely absorbed. The soul seed also had the opportunity to absorb a large amount of energy. 3 days later, the energy of the soul-washing liquid was completely absorbed by Yuer. Lin Feng took Yuer out of the bathtub. Yuer's face was beautiful, and her figure could be said to be perfect. But the beauty was in his arms. Lin Feng did not have any romantic thoughts. Right now, all his energy was focused on helping Yuer resolve the soul planting technique. Lin Feng let Yuer sit cross-legged in front of him. Then Lin Feng's right hand was placed on Yuer's lower abdomen, and his left hand was placed on Yuer's back. The place where his right hand was placed was the location of Yuer's dantian, and the place where his left hand was placed was the Junmen point on her back. Powerful mana from these two positions continuously poured into Yuer's body. Lin Feng's spiritual will fused into the mana, under the control of divine telekinesis. This mana began to circulate in Yuer's body along a special path. After a total of 36 great circulations, Yi Zichen's eyes lit up. The mana that poured into Yuer's body turned into an extremely special kind of energy, and this special kind of energy finally poured into Yuer's soul. This energy protected Yuer's soul. Following that, even more energy continued to pour into Yuer's soul. The energy that poured into Yuer's soul later carefully wrapped around the soul seed in Yuer's soul. During this process, Lin Feng was extremely cautious. He was afraid that he would disturb the soul seed. Once the soul seed was disturbed. When the soul seed recovered, Lin Feng was worried that it would harm Yuer's soul. Although Yuer's soul was currently protected by that special energy, who could guarantee that she would be safe and sound? Would it be able to withstand the attack of the soul seed? Therefore, Lin Feng was very careful. Fortunately, this soul seed had also fallen into a deep slumber. The effect of the spirit cleansing liquid was still very obvious. After that special energy wrapped around the soul seed, Lin Feng carefully separated the soul seed from Yuer's soul. During this process, he became even more cautious. However, what Lin Feng did not expect was that when the soul seed was about to be separated, at this time, the soul seed actually emitted a shocking fluctuation. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. It must be that the sleeping soul in the soul seed was about to wake up. This was going to be troublesome. Lin Feng clenched his teeth, and a powerful soul force poured into Yuer's mind. He used his soul force to wrap around the soul seed. Then, a powerful soul force quickly gushed out. And that soul seed was also swept out by Lin Feng's soul force. Lowly existence, you actually dare to make a move on this seat. Suddenly, a cold voice came out from the soul seed. Following that, a terrifying soul force gushed out from the soul seed. Those powerful soul forces all poured into Lin Feng's mind, wanting to destroy Lin Feng's soul. Where is the soul? Where is the soul? Where is the soul? Those powerful soul forces actually condensed into the appearance of a woman. The woman was incomparably beautiful, like a fairy, but her aura was incomparably evil. She was searching for Lin Feng's soul. She wanted to destroy Lin Feng's soul. This woman should be the one who used the soul planting technique, scheming for eternity to devour Yuer's soul in the future and obtain Yuer's body. Not long after, the woman found Lin Feng's soul. She sneered and said, "You almost ruined everything. Have you thought about how you want to die?" Lin Feng's soul hid in the primal chaos ancient lamp. He sneered and replied, "Your soul force has fallen into a deep slumber under the effects of the spirit cleansing liquid. Now you can only use a small part of your soul force. Do you think you can destroy my soul? How laughable! Isn't it easy to destroy your soul?" The woman sneered and attacked the primal chaos ancient lamp. Lin Feng sneered, fearless. He summoned the 4 heavenly fires and Luya's stargazing chart. At the same time, he controlled the primal chaos ancient lamp to attack the woman. The two sides immediately engaged in an intense battle. The woman was very strong. However, it was just as Lin Feng had said. No matter how strong the woman was, she could only use a small part of her soul force. Lin Feng naturally did not fear her. The battle lasted for an entire day and night. With the 4 heavenly fires, Luyao's stargazing chart, and the primal chaos ancient lamp working together, Lin Feng finally found the woman's weakness. Luyao's stargazing chart charged forward and tore the woman's body apart. The woman was formed from soul force, so when her body was torn apart, there would be no bloody scene. After the woman was heavily injured, the primal chaos ancient lamp slammed into her and blew her apart. Her body was once again decomposed into soul force. Next, the 4 heavenly fires enveloped the soul force and burned it fiercely. Lin Feng wanted to completely refine the woman's soul. Do you know who I am? If you dare to kill me, no one in the world will be able to save you. Not only you, but your family, friends, and so on will all die, and they will all die a miserable death. The woman's voice came from the soul force that was being burned by the heavenly fires. She threatened Lin Feng loudly. When Lin Feng said these words, he muttered in his heart, "The little sister I'm talking about is my little sister." The women naturally didn't know what Lin Feng was thinking, and all of them felt a lot of admiration for Lin Feng. Someone quickly left to report this matter to Xuan Yanqiu. Xuan Yanqiu quickly arrived and carefully inspected Yuer's condition. Then he smiled. "Thank you, Sect Master Lin. If not for Sect Leader Lin, I'm afraid that this girl would have died," Xuan Yanqiu said. Lin Feng said, "Senior, you are too polite. This is what I should do. Yuer will probably be unconscious for 3 to 4 days. I still have some matters to attend to, so I won't wait for her to wake up. I will take my leave now," Xuan Yanqiu said. "Since Sect Master Lin has matters to attend to, I won't keep you. Shuiyu, help me release Sect Master Lin." "Yes, Master." A female disciple received the order and responded. After leaving the Immortal Snow Island, Lin Feng returned to the Dragon Gate Island. The Dragon Gate Island was developing and growing in an orderly manner. The territory that originally belonged to the 9th Evil Dragon was now under the control of the Dragon Gate Island. As for the territories of the 5th and 8th Evil Dragons, they were too far away from the Dragon Gate Island, and the territory of the 2nd Evil Dragon was in between. Therefore, after the death of the 5th and 8th Evil Dragons, Lin Feng did not send anyone to occupy the territories of the 2 evil dragons. Now the Dragon Gate needed to recuperate and accumulate strength. In the future they might have to fight with the other evil dragons. Moreover, the 9 prefectures that seemed peaceful now were in fact turbulent. Who knew what would happen in the future? If the 9 prefectures fell into chaos, the consequences would be unimaginable. Therefore, during this period, the Dragon Gate should try to recruit as many experts as possible. Lin Feng had always been a person who knew how to make good use of people. Therefore, he left the affairs of the Dragon Gate to his subordinates. He was very relieved. After staying in the Dragon Gate for a few days, Lin Feng planned to return to the Reincarnation Immortal Sect. Before returning to the Reincarnation Immortal Sect, he received a letter from Feng Yaoguang. "Husband, how are you doing? Is everything okay? I am about to enter that world. I hope everything goes well." She hoped that everything would go smoothly for her husband. The last payment was in Feng Yaoguang's name. Lin Feng pondered for a while. Which world did Feng Yaoguang go to? Lin Feng was very puzzled. Lin Feng suppressed his longing and worry for Feng Yaoguang in his heart. He left with the evil dominator, Sage Du Zhu, and returned to the Reincarnation Immortal Sect. Brother Scum is back. When Lin Feng returned, the news quickly spread in the sect. Brother Scum's return naturally caused a huge uproar. Many people recalled how Lin Feng kidnapped Xia Shiyun, Bai Yusin, and Nan Gongqiming. At that time, the 3 fairies stayed with Lin Feng for a month. What had happened in the past month? It was too easy for people to think about it. Moreover, the 3 fairies did not explain anything. This broke the hearts of many disciples of the Reincarnation Immortal Sect. Now that Lin Feng was back, many people gnashed their teeth in hatred. Of course, some disciples had heard about the Dragon's Gate, but they thought the Dragon's Gate was just a pawn of the Reincarnation Celestial Sect. Lin Feng had become the leader of the Dragon's Gate because Mr. Tortoise had protected him. The leaders of the reincarnation celestial sect had taken advantage of the situation. Lin Feng was very lucky. He became the leader of the Dragon Gate at such a young age. Even the disciples of the reincarnation immortal sect thought so, let alone the other disciples. In the distance, a celestial light lingered. A red-crowned crane flew over with a beautiful woman sitting on top of it. The woman's aura was otherworldly. She was like a fairy who had fallen from the 9 heavens. She was breathtakingly beautiful. It's Fairy Yuan Shaner. She seems to have gone to visit the Tao Enlightening Patriarch. I heard that she received some of his inheritance. The Tao Enlightening Patriarch is a big shot who has lived for 5 million years. Fairy Yuan Shaner received his inheritance. She's really lucky. It's all because Fairy Yuan Shaner has a good master. I heard that our sect's ancestor had a relationship with the ancestor of the Tao Enlightening sect. That's why Fairy Yuan Shaner was able to obtain the ancestor's inheritance. Many disciples discussed fervently. Lin Feng looked at Yuan Shaner. As expected, she was extremely beautiful. No wonder she was one of the 10 fairies of the reincarnation immortal sect. Chapter 2180. Lin Feng had met many of the 10 fairies of the reincarnation immortal sect. For example, Fairy Dancing Fire, Xia Shiyun, Bai Yusin, Nan Gongqiming, Fairy Lianyue, and Fairy Lingyun. Of course, there was also Shui Linglong, who had a close relationship with Lin Feng. In addition, Lin Feng had also met Chiu Yiling. There were only 2 fairies that Lin Feng had not met. One of them was Yuan Shaner. The other one had a very mysterious origin. She was called Dongfang Yanran. It was said that she had left the sect for many years and no one knew where she had gone. Yuan Shaner did not care about the surrounding disciples who were pointing at her. She had seen this kind of situation too many times. Not only did Yuan Shaner have countless pursuers and admirers in the sect, but she also had countless pursuers in the northern barbarian state and even the entire Jiuzhou. Any peerless beauty on the list of beauties was definitely a figure that attracted a lot of attention. They were even far more famous than those on the list of prodigies. What was the favorite topic of both cultivators and ordinary people? It must be beautiful women. When friends gathered together, did they always talk about which girl was prettier? Which girl had a good figure? Yuan Shaner sat on the immortal crane and was about to leave. Suddenly, a man flew over and blocked her way. Yuan Shaner did not know this man. She could not help but frown slightly. Yuan Shaner was the disciple of a grand elder, one of the 10 fairies, and the saintess of the sect. Her status was very high. Not to mention the disciples of the sect. Even if it was the sect elders, who would dare to block Yuan Shaner's way? Therefore, Yuan Shaner was a little angry when she saw Lin Feng blocking her way. Yuan Shaner was about to reprimand him when she heard the surrounding disciples scolding. "Scum, come down quickly! You are not allowed to get close to Shana! Scum, you better behave and don't do anything out of line. Otherwise, don't blame us for not being polite to you." The disciples of the reincarnation fairy below shouted and scolded loudly. They were all filled with righteous indignation and wanted to beat Lin Feng half to death. Yuan Shaner looked at Lin Feng with some surprise. The scum that those disciples were talking about was obviously the male disciple who had blocked her way. Yuan Shaner had left the sect for many years. She had been cultivating with the Tao Enlightening Great Ancestor all these years, so she did not know Lin Feng. Naturally, he had never heard of Lin Feng. Therefore, Yuan Shaner was very puzzled by the fact that everyone called Lin Feng scum. This male disciple had a tall and straight figure, eyes like stars, and a jade-like face. He was also a handsome man. Most importantly, Yuan Shaner had never seen such a calm demeanor among the younger generation of cultivators. Yuan Shaner tried hard to recall where she had seen Lin Feng's calm temperament. A few powerful figures suddenly appeared in her mind. The celestial master of the reincarnation immortal sect. The Supreme Reverend of the Profound Tao God sect. The Divine Emperor of the Kingdom of Light. Which one of them wasn't a Supreme Being on the Supreme Being list? He cast sidelong glances at the big shots of the 9 prefectures. Yuan Shan felt a little strange. Why did she feel that this male disciple's temperament was so similar to those big shots? Was she imagining things? At that moment, Yuan Shan heard the male disciple who had blocked her way speak. This humble one is Lin Feng. I've only been in the sect for a few years, so this is my first time meeting Fairy Shan'er. Nice to meet you. So it's junior brother Lin. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Yuan Shan'er nodded slightly. I prefer it when you call me Little Feng or Big Brother Feng. Of course, if you don't mind, you can also call me Little Big Brother, Lin Feng said with a smile. Damn. How shameless can you be? You might as well call me hubby. Many people rolled their eyes. As expected of the scum of the sect. He had harmed Xia Shiyun, Bai Yusin, and Nan Gong Qiming. Now, he was extending his evil claws toward Fairy Yuan Shan'er, who had just returned to the sect. Many people were furious. With the lesson learned from the past. Naturally, they wouldn't let Lin Feng have his way. Scum, don't force us to make a move on you. Scum, stay away from Fairy Shan'er. Otherwise, we'll beat you until half your body is paralyzed. Being paralyzed is considered a light punishment. Be careful, or we'll turn you into a eunuch. Countless disciples began to threaten him. Many people wanted to teach Lin Feng a lesson. Although they weren't Lin Feng's match in a one-on-one battle, they had the advantage in numbers. Therefore, these disciples were confident that they could teach Lin Feng a lesson. However, when they saw the fiendish evil dominator Holy Sage and the mischievous Du Zhu beside Lin Feng, they all felt a chill run down their spine. Many disciples of the celestial sects were scared and didn't attack. They could only threaten Lin Feng. Yuan Shan'er spat at Lin Feng. She had only just met Lin Feng, so she naturally wouldn't call him Little Feng, Big Brother Feng, or Little Big Brother. That was too intimate. Usually, only lovers would call each other that. Yuan Shan'er asked. Why are these people calling you scum? Lin Feng said. I'm so outstanding. They're jealous of me. Pfft. Yuan Shan'er couldn't help but chuckle. How thick-skinned. Who praises themselves like that? The surrounding disciples were about to go crazy. Lin Feng, this shameless person, actually had the nerve to say that he was outstanding? A scum like him actually dared to say such words? How shameless was he? Fairy Shan'er, don't be deceived by that bastard. He's scum. That's right. That bastard has done a lot of heartless things. This bastard specializes in harming beautiful female disciples. Fairy, you must be careful. Many people called out. Yuan Shan'er frowned slightly. Lin Feng said, Look at these people. They're so jealous of me that they're willing to do anything. They even dare to throw dirty water at me. If I was really such a person, would the sect tolerate me? When Yuan Shan'er heard Lin Feng's words, she felt that they made a lot of sense. She said, Don't take it to heart. Little Shan'er is so understanding. You know how to care for others. Lin Feng said with a smile. Little Shan'er? What the? Countless disciples were speechless. All of them were gnashing their teeth in anger. He had only spoken a few words with Fairy Yuan Shan'er, and he was already calling her Little Shan'er. Did he still have any shame? Yuan Shan'er blushed slightly and said, You're not allowed to call me that. Lin Feng smiled and said, Then I'll be called Shan'er from now on. Yuan Shan'er couldn't help but snort. She was about to refuse. At that moment, Lin Feng said, Then it's settled. If you miss me, you can come to the barren mountain to find me. Following that, Lin Feng left with Du Zhu and the heretic sovereign sage. What a strange fellow. Yi Futian murmured. Yuan Shan'er looked at Lin Feng's back as he left. She couldn't help but guess what kind of person Lin Feng was.